YouTube stuff is like way over my head too. So,
And you know what, dude? Do you think I'll get in trouble if I play music for like a minute, or will they take the whole thing down, or you think that's too risky?
ooh, I don't
I
know.
don't think I'm going to do it. It's too risky. I don't like that ooh is enough.
I've heard stories of they'll get you
Yeah, I
quick,
don't.
you know.
I bet you there's sticklers, but I'm going to have to find some. I can buy royalty free music. You know what I mean?
Ooh, it looks like you're live.
I'm already live. It's in
I
I
don't
play
think I'm gonna
music
do
for
it.
like a
It's too
minute,
risky.
or
I don't like
will they
that
take the
ooh
whole
is
thing
enough.
down? Or you think it's too risky?
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't think I'm going to do it. It's too risky. I don't like that ooh is enough.
I've heard stories of they'll get
Yeah, I
you
don't.
with a delay.
I bet you there's sticklers, but I'm going to have to find some. I can buy royalty free music. You know what I mean?
Ooh, it looks like you're live.
I'm already live. It's in
Okay.
like a
So a
minute.
little bit of a delay.
I know. We'll get over it. It's just a second here.
Yeah.
Ooh,
All right, I posted it. Good.
It's too risky. I don't like that ooh is enough.
I've heard stories of they'll get
Yeah, I
you
don't.
with a delay.
I bet you there's sticklers. But I'm gonna have to find some. I can buy royalty free music. You know what I mean?
Ooh, it looks like you're live.
I'm already live. It's in
Okay. So a little bit of a delay.
I know. We'll get over it. It's just a second here.
Yeah.
Ooh,
All right, I posted it. Good.
It's too risky. I don't like that ooh is enough. Yeah, boy, get that flex in, kid.
Delay.
I bet you there's sticklers. Right?
Ooh.
Damn, bro. We got. I can't wait to get in this shit with you.
Ooh, it looks like you're live.
All right, I posted it. Posted it to Facebook. I'm gonna turn this lag off. I know. We'll get over it. It's just a second here.
Yeah. All right, I posted.
All right. You good there, Paisan?
Absolutely.
All right, man. The business is done.
You know, my best friend's Italian too, so
We're already family now. How you doing?
dude, big time.
This is a very special night, Jamie.
I agree.
You are the first live guest that I've ever had on my show.
Love being a guinea pig.
Why not start it with a guy who's on a rocket ship to the top? Welcome, Jamie Sheldon, to the Church of Arm Wrestling Podcast, episode 5. How you doing, my friend? Thank you for coming on the show.
5 is my lucky number. No joke. I swear.
Wait a minute. Stop playing, man.
I wore that in football. Dude, that's my number, man.
I got to go with the flow. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I promise you. I'll go back after this and I'll find a picture of me in high school football wearing number 5. I still have the jersey. I'll go get the jersey next time.
Listen, Jamie, the world works in mysterious ways.
It does.
I didn't expect you to mind fuck me right off the rip, but you did.
Yeah. I'm good at that.
Wow. Have you ever heard of my show?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it pop up in different circles and just,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what was going on. I figured at some point I would learn about it. So here I am on the show.
This is tremendous.
Yeah.
I've had some people who follow me since the beginning. So this is pretty much for the new people that are checking us out here at the church.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to explain a little bit about what the show's about.
Yeah.
This Church of Arm Wrestling podcast I hold sacred to my heart because basically what I am on is a search for the DNA of this sport. And so I'm going after the gusto with this, trying to get the top guys in the sport. And we take you through the magic carpet ride through these guys and gals' lives because you've been to a lot of tournaments. There's so many interesting people in this sport that there's so much more depth to them than what they do on the table. And I don't see with all due respect to the other guys who do interviews, there's a lot of focus on the arm wrestling, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. I just like to peel some more layers back and find out what's going on up here and what makes us tick. And that's what makes me different. So I like to find out how you became who you are. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Self-discovery, growth, healing, hope, love. We need love right now.
Yes.
The brotherhood, family, all these tournaments. It's like a family cookout because we gather from so many distances. It's the rarest thing I've ever seen. You played football, you just told me, so we're going to get into that in a little bit. But I played football up until I played semi-pro up until my mid-30s.
Wow.
And everything I learned about brotherhood was from football. And, you know, I ran track, played baseball, but I never did no combat sports. So, I mean, this isn't combat, but this is about as close as you can get without beating the shit out of each other, you know?
And you seem like a real people person. So, you know, right off the bat, there's layers. And some of our
Yeah.
guys have lots of layers.
It's funny. When I do my filming, I have this streak that I haven't really told anyone about yet. Every time I go live and I do commentary, somehow I end up next to someone who's there for the first time. And you could just see the light in their eyes turn on, like, where the fuck has you been my whole life? Right. And I'm just so happy to be there. And I go, hey, how you doing? This your first tournament? Yep. This is like 5 tournaments in a row. And I get into them and I just kind of not selling the sport. I don't need to because they got the bug already.
Yeah.
And I just so happen to be there to catch it. And so I know that bug, that feeling, that thing is real. It's alive. That's the service that I offer to the sport. Some people say, who the fuck is this guy? He's an amateur arm wrestler. He hasn't done anything. Chris Gobby said, who the hell is this guy? He's never done anything on a table. You know what? You're right. But what I offer to the sport on an immediate impact level is
a word, big word.
The ability to show people that thing and bring them into the sport with it. So
in your defense, Chris Gobby says that about people who've done a lot in the sport already. So Chris Gobby attacked everybody. So
he's reverse psychology in me.
Don't feel bad. Yeah, he's attacked me many times too.
I guess if he's talking about me, that's a good thing, right?
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, the thing I like to do with my guests before we get down to the nitty gritty is we do a little mental warm up.
Uh-oh, this should be fun.
I got the good loving here. You know what the good loving is?
No.
It's Grey Goose and Gatorade.
I've had both.
Yes, they go together tremendously well.
I'm not a vodka guy.
No? You drink beers. I see you with the beers.
I'm a beer, or I really love Scotch whiskey.
Whoa.
But I'm not allowed to drink it that much. So my wife will kill me. Plus, I have expensive taste, so that can get me in a lot of trouble.
Let's go with the flow. Tell me about Jamie Sheldon after a night of a good whiskey night. What's he like?
Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my ease into the night type of forget about everything. Beer wakes me up. Whiskey just relaxes me.
Yeah.
And I can just, coast off. Beer, I mean, you saw me on New Year's Eve. I had probably like 6 or 7 beers before I got on their show, and then I had about 9 while I was on it.
You had those glasses and the hat, man. You were styling, profiling, bro.
And I was in bed by like 10. I'm an old man now,
How old are you?
I just turned 40 over the break.
I'm 43, man.
Hey, we're in the same group.
Yeah. That's good. So we'll be able to relate to a lot of the same shit. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I got some warm-up questions here. All right, here we go, Jackson. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen at an arm wrestling tournament? I have a story for you, but I want to see yours first.
Craziest thing. I haven't seen too much of that crazy stuff that people say they've seen at events, where people acting stupid, kicking chalk buckets or whatever.
No.
I mean, what I call crazy was just being at WAL. I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd year when they offered the most amount of money. And there was like hundreds of people there at the regionals. And I think there were 6 broken arms that day. What? And it was and the first broken arm was like right on my table. And Luke Kent and I were sitting there waiting to go. And this dude, never seen him before. Because when you mention money and ESPN, everybody shows up. Dude broke his arm, like right there, first couple matches. So, I mean, you know how it is in the sport. Nobody likes to see that.
No.
So I call that crazy. I mean,
it's frowned upon to even post a broken arm video. You know what I mean?
Arm wrestlers don't do that, right?
No,
it's our friends that are tagging us in that crap.
It's like if I try to brag and post a video, I've seen a couple people, with post, and then you don't want to take no pride in that. That's not a good thing.
No.
But
Oh,
6 in one day. I mean, Jesus
I
Christ.
think it was 6.
Were they all new guys?
Uh,
'Cause usually it's newer guys.
I think there
Usually.
were a couple guys that have been pulling for a bit. I know one guy that I knew tore his bicep, and he'd been pulling for a few years. So I mean, it was just, I think, yeah, I don't think it was anybody who was really seasoned. I could be wrong though.
Damn.
Yeah.
I've had some two situations involving the same thing.
Yeah.
So basically, I first got into sport. It was probably maybe my second or third tournament. And this guy, crazy guy, and his girlfriend show up, and he goes, "I done drove all the way from Connecticut for you. I know about you. It's gonna be me and you in the end." And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? His eyes are way out there, right?
Damn.
Turns out, man, this guy's doing meth in the parking lot. Him and his girl were all gooned up, come to the table, crazy nut job.
Huh.
And they're like, "You got to beat this guy." I beat him. But it was like, it's one thing to go up to a table with someone who's pumped up,
Mm-hmm.
but to know that they're fresh, because you can tell someone fresh right off the boat.
Right.
And I'm just, these guys all crazy. He's got half his freaking hands missing. I don't know. He must have chopped it off with a saw. He got the nubs and shit. And I was just like, this sport's full of crazy bastards, man.
That's definitely one to remember. Yeah. Especially when he calls you out like that.
Yeah. Music taste. Let's go music real quick.
Ooh.
Growing up, and I have plenty, so I want to hear about yours. Are there any special songs that were either part of great or bad memories? Maybe a song that pumped you up before a big football game. Can you name one or two songs that really had an impact on your childhood that you know what I mean, meant a lot to you?
I would, well, in my family, like my dad's British and my mom's from Jamaica. So always heard the Beatles playing in our house. And my mom had these Bob Marley records because she grew up with Bob Marley out in Jamaica, like right down the street.
No way.
So it's kind of a cool little story that I tell people.
Cool,
but so heard that growing up, but my parents loved all music, like from the 60s. I just remember hearing music from the 60s and 70s growing up, and I was singing it as a kid. Like you can ask my wife, man. I mean, we'll be having dinner and we'll play like the hits from the 60s, the 70s, just random, or like the 80s, when we grew up.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for that music. Tears for Fears, all that
oh,
stuff.
yeah,
So
bull. Yeah.
get me on the karaoke machine. Once these events
out.
are coming, it's over. Like I'll sing them.
Nice.
So I don't have just one, man. I've got genres full. Like I'll sing the Beatles.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the mood. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it was for football or track, like I was either listening to Tupac or Ice Cube in high school, right? Because those were the pump up ones.
Right.
So
I used to be, when I ran track in high school and we would go to different schools, I was the guy who made the mixtapes. You remember DJ Clue?
Yep.
Like I would put the rap station on Philly, hit record for like 2 hours. You know what I mean?
That's when we had tapes. People don't realize that. We had tapes and pagers.
We're getting up there, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. I want to play this game. I played it before. We each get it. I did it. I did it with Jason Merlo.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna go boom, boom, boom. We're gonna go bada bing, bada boom. 5 words. We each get 1 word apiece. Ooh. And we're gonna tell each other what our first thought is. And you're the guest. So either I'm gonna let you choose. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first. It's your show.
You're
the boss.
Let me see. Failure.
Unacceptable.
Yes.
Failure is unacceptable. You know what, though? It's a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. Am I just supposed to go back and forth, or do I do an explanation?
No. Tell me. You can tell me what you're thinking about. Yeah.
Failure is necessary, but unacceptable. So you don't accept it, but it is a necessary part of life to keep going. So we don't accept it, but we embrace it.
Yes.
Right?
I love it. All right, your turn.
Ooh. Powder.
Protein.
Oh, see. That was too easy for you, huh?
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what I thought of. Yeah.
I was hoping it was going to be that, right? You know?
Really? Tremendous. We're on a roll.
Yeah.
We're on a roll. Okay. Arm wrestling.
Second love.
Nice.
It's my
That's all
second
you
love.
need.
I
Yep.
guess my family's first. You know, you got to say that.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
kids, your wife,
No
and
doubt.
then,
No doubt. That's a
but you're
good.
always thinking about arm wrestling. That's that mistress
Oh God. It's
that gets people into trouble.
and there's so much content. It's funny with the lack of actual events, the content that's available now. Not to get off tangent, but I seen that Brad Cook got producer of the year.
Yeah,
I didn't even know they had a producer of the year.
I didn't either.
And that inspires me tenfold before I found out that he was. So if he gets to hear this, congratulations, Brad, on that. He's definitely the dude right now. Joe MBK, he's right behind him.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm really new at this, but I'm in the same group as far as trying to take this love of ours and show it to the world. And I love that there's a lot of a lot of us that are doing it, because it's just you could have two of us at the same event and you could have two totally different video experiences. I tend to gear towards interacting with the audience and catching the special moments. Like, say someone wins a match and he goes to kiss his girl or something. Like, I'm trying to get that stuff.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We all, but I don't know them guys well enough to say what their way is about it. But I just think it's great that
You're all elevating the sport. You all have a role, and there's room for everybody because you're all doing
yeah.
it different, and I love it.
Yeah, we're all ingredients in a wonderful gumbo.
That's right.
Mhm.
Southern word. Haven't had that in a while.
I ain't even from the South. I just throw the randoms out there.
Yeah. Well, based on where you're at, it's my turn now, right?
Yes, we're on the third one now. This is number 3.
This is a third?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
your. Yeah,
This is my second.
this is your second. I had 3.
Okay.
Okay.
California. Since you're on the East Coast, California. What do you think when you think California?
My dream.
Yeah.
I've wanted to go out there since I was a kid, man.
Yeah.
And guess what? In 2 weeks, I'll be out there.
Really?
Yeah, I'm flying out to North California.
Oh, so you're going to be over with your other Italian brother, Paul?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I've always wanted to go out there. I have so many things planned, like as far as I want to sightsee out there. I love to film. That's why I film when I drive is there's just beauty everywhere. When you have I don't know, I'm always looking for that shot. And you get the sun, the clouds, and the rights. It's just beautiful, man. I love it. I can't wait to see that out there. This sport is the reason for it. It's life changing. It's life saving.
Well, that's where it started, right?
It's saved lives.
Mhm.
It's helped people out of depression, divorce, loss of job, and it's just because you always have that to go back to keep you from going the wrong way. I love it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, my turn.
Mm.
All right, number 4. Let me see. Family.
My family's growing. Oh, I got to think of a word that pops in. Oh, crazy. Let's
Crazy.
say crazy. Family's crazy when you got 3 little ones, 3 little daughters running around, running the show.
Oh yeah.
And they're alphas testing the queen, and the king can't do anything about it.
I have 4 daughters.
And I thought my life was crazy.
I had them all when I was young, though. They're all older, but I have twins, and they're fun. Yeah. But your girls are very charismatic. You could tell the one you posted that little thing. That girl,
Flexing.
she means business, boy. You don't want to make her mad.
She's jacked. Crazy.
Yeah.
She can hurt people. Oh, I love it. Love it.
That's great, man.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, crazy. They're crazy. But I love them. But crazy. But yours are grown, so you've gone through everything I'm going through. So
they're fun. They're fun now. Let me tell you something. You put them on your shoulder in the summertime and stuff like that. really take that in, because when they're old and they look at you like, Dad, please don't embarrass me, you miss those moments where you're like, man, you used to live on my shoulders. Now, like, you're telling me not to honk the horn at the high school when I pick you up. Come on, man.
It's always hear about those phases, and like I'm living through the transitional. So I'm going to experience all that. And, when you're younger, you hear about it. You don't really care to think
Yeah.
too much about it or feel. But when you're going through it, and then when you've passed it and you miss it,
Yeah, it's tough.
I know I'll be right there with you, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, this is my last one. Let me see. Nat Fit.
The future.
Ooh, that's powerful, Jay. That's powerful. Woo!
Chills.
I did too. You just shot me with the Hadouken, man. Whoa.
Ooh, it's the future. It's the future. I hope it is. I've worked crazy. I'm sure we'll get into that.
You just punched me in the chest, so I think that you're right.
It's made me age faster than I'd like to, man. Oh
Yeah.
God. But it's great. It's great. Hopefully it gets somewhere where we can start having some fun. Yeah.
All right, man. Are you
My
ready?
last word?
Your last word.
Regret.
Disappointing. It sucks to regret something, because people underestimate the little choices that we make. And when you do something and you don't think about it, or like, family members who cut each other off, or friends who have a fight who end up not being friends no more. With the way the world is now, and that any one of us can be gone just like this, to not be able to settle something and have that regret that lives forever, sad, disappointing.
Cheers to that, man.
Cheers to that. Good loving.
Yeah. I got pick me up energy drink stuff in here. So it's like
You got Jared. It looks like
I knew you were going to challenge me today. So I had to have caffeine at night.
Jamie, I call it the mind fuck. The world is going to learn some new things about you tonight.
Well, maybe I'll learn some stuff about me too.
Yes.
You sure you're not a psychiatrist or a therapist or something, man? Because maybe I should be sitting on your couch.
I'll put it to you like this. I'm a Jedi, dude. I'm a Jedi, bro. I look behind the curtains. It's a gift and it's a responsibility, and I take it seriously, and I use it out of love and not manipulation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I help people discover things about themselves they previously didn't know. I can't change people's lives. I don't look to change anyone's life, and I don't look to push what I think or believe in on anyone. Everyone's got their own truth. Mm-hmm. But I can give you the red or the blue pill. It's up to you. You got to take the walk.
Right.
Whoa, we're getting deep. Woo!
Yeah.
You ready for this? You ready for this magic carpet ride?
I'm ready.
All right, dude. Riverside, California, huh? You lived there your whole life?
Yeah, born and raised. I have moved to cities right next door when I was working in different places like Moreno Valley, Corona, which are like right in Riverside County. But back in Riverside, 10 minutes from where I grew up, and this is our first house. We're going to be looking to buy another one because we need more space. So probably going to upgrade in the next couple of years, and it'll still be in Riverside. I'll never leave California as my home. Now, if we get to the point where we have homes other places, great. But I'll never leave Southern California.
Tell me, before I get into your childhood, tell me about California, because I've been fascinated with it since a child. And if you had to sell California, like let's just say, for example, I wanted to move there. Let's say you needed to sell me on moving there for whatever reason, it doesn't even matter. Tell me a little bit about California, as far as why you love it, why you'll never leave, and why would somebody else want to live there?
You know what? California is so spread out and it's so different. Like you're going to be in the north in a couple of weeks, completely different than coming down to Southern California.
Yeah.
A little bit cooler up there too. The weather down here in Southern California, it was 89 degrees today, man, in January.
Where you're at?
Yesterday, yeah.
Are you south?
Yeah, I'm in the south. I'm about 30 minutes from the beach.
How far are you from LA?
45, 50 minutes without traffic, but LA traffic is Nuts.
You're right in the mix. That's
I'm
great.
right in the middle, man. I mean, you drive to LA, or you can go 30 minutes to the mountains with snow. You can go an hour south to San Diego.
That's so strange.
But it's really expensive to live here too, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I see our friends buying houses in the Midwest or like the South, and you can get like 7 houses for the price of one out here.
Hey, if you don't mind me asking, what would a 1-bedroom apartment cost where you live, town wise?
I'll tell you,
A
the
month.
last apartment I had was several years ago, and mine cost me, and this was pretty cheap. I think it was about $1,300 a month for a 1-bedroom.
That's
it.
about Philly's about $1,000, 1,100.
About $1,000. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure it's more. I mean,
Yeah.
There were different apartments around the areas that were like in the $2,000s. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. There's places in Philly that are like that, $2,500, like Penn's Landing, right in the middle of the city and stuff. A big part of that is you're paying for the privilege of being in a tremendous place.
I hear San Francisco's like that too up north. I mean, I've only been there once, but I wouldn't live there. Wouldn't live there either. But
Yeah.
Whereabouts are you, man?
I'm in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Okay. I don't know why I thought New York.
Nah.
Okay.
I'm thinking about going up to see Beast Mode and the Long Island team, train with them a little bit.
Nice.
Just because one thing I've learned is you got to touch hands with the more people that are knowledgeable that you can find, the quicker you'll learn.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against my team. I love to train there, but when you go to the same people all the time, you're not limited, but you are in a little sorts, right?
Yeah, it's good to grab a hold of different hands, different demographics, because they all train different.
No
Man, I'd
doubt.
love to get to Philly, bro. I would love to get there. I've never been.
You've never been to Philly?
Never been to Pennsylvania.
Listen to me. Do you like the Rocky movies? Or not really?
Dude, my wife and I, our songs, like when she's running in the mornings, she's playing Rocky soundtracks.
That's great. I did it all growing up, dude. If you ever come to Philly, I'll take you on a Rocky tour.
Done.
I'll show you I'll make a list of all the places. There's some tough quadrants.
I want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The K&A Bowl is the belly of the beast. I don't know if you've seen it in some of my footage. It's a shit show.
I saw the intro to one of your shows, one of your interviews, and it looked like I think it was probably one of those rough areas, but that's the kind of stuff I want to see, man. Like I want to see the glitz and the glamour and all that, but when I travel, I like to look at how real people, are living.
Right.
Yeah.
I drive down there not to make fun or anything. I go down there to feel the pain so that I never end up there. Because when I see some of these things I see, I just wonder, like, when you see someone, you've seen it. It's like, how does it get that bad? It's crazy. So I'm filming. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, you want to do this at the green lights. You don't want to do it at a red light.
Dude, and we got a lot of that here in Southern California, man.
I imagine there's a lot of homeless because of how expensive it is. Yeah.
There's a lot.
I think that's probably the most population of homeless is in California. When you agree?
I believe it. I mean, I haven't checked stats, but yeah, I wouldn't be.
Everyone wants to be a movie star out there.
And that's going out the window. Now the movie stars are trying to get TV gigs.
I have, some actor buddies out here, and I was trying to get some gigs and stuff, but even the people who are known, ain't nobody making shit right now. Best thing you can do right now is create and put it in fucking corner for when the shit pops off, Yeah. Yeah.
And try not to lose your sanity in the meantime, right?
That's what we're here for, Jay.
Right. That's right.
Get rid of all the blues. I play the blues, but I don't want YouTube to say shut her down.
You got some music in your blood?
I've got all kinds of music, dude.
Can you play instruments and sing, or
no? Well, I can sing in the shower really well.
That's all you need.
Echo. It's funny because when I sing, I sound tremendous, but when I record it on my phone, it's ridiculous. It's terrible.
They never pick it up right. Yeah. They all sing really, really well. Yeah.
Yeah, but in Kensington, I was filming at the red light, and this guy comes up to my car, knocking on my window. What the fuck you filming for? And my buddy's got the camera and he goes, yo, get out of here. We got to go. And I go, well, hold on. Let's see where this goes. He reaches in his pocket, pulls out his I thought he was going to pull a gun. And I was like, oh shit. Pulled out his weenie right in front. I'm like, shit. And I still pull off. But I was like, then they're throwing bottles at my car. It's pretty dangerous, but it's.
You almost rather it be a gun at that point, right?
Yeah. But you get some good shots if you can survive. I've got some hella good shots out there.
Talk about investigative reporting. Yeah, man.
Yes, I'm going deep in the rabbit hole for you guys.
Yeah.
Now, I seen from one of your past interviews that one of the biggest obstacle you've ever overcome was you had a stroke at age 3.
Yeah, I was almost 3, I believe. Yeah, it was weird. All I remember was I was riding my Hot Wheel, those big.
Oh, you
big
remember?
wheels.
You remember?
Yeah, I remember, which was crazy that I remember up until it happened, right? So I just remember riding that thing in the driveway, and I was coming around, and then I just remember like slumping down, and then I remember seeing my mom because I think she was out there doing laundry in the garage or something, and that's it. Like that's all I remember until I got older. Because apparently I was paralyzed for 6 months. I wasn't able to walk. They don't know what caused it, but apparently it's more common than you'd think with really, really young. Luckily, it went to the brain, so I was only paralyzed on the left side for 6 months. And then crazy story. My mom says that, I was kind of like moving around for like 6 months trying to like see what was going to happen. And my mom said one day I just got up and changed the channel because I didn't like what was on TV. And they were like, just got up and there we are. Now I'm relatively normal. I mean, so crazy. Yeah. It's weird that happened.
It's crazy that you remember it.
Yeah. I just remember that, you have flashes of when you're younger in your childhood, and that I just remember up until it happened. And then it's almost like a traumatic experience that your brain forgets to heal itself. Mm-hmm. And up until that point, man. And I've had friends that, like let's say somebody who was in a car accident, they remember everything right up until the impact. Then their brain kind of makes them forget because of all the trauma. Weird. That's really getting into the mind, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When I was about, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6, I went to the bathroom and I was pissing blood. And I go, Mom, I'm pissing Kool-Aid. What the hell's going on? And apparently I had a problem with my platelets and they thought I had leukemia. And
wow.
I mean, I don't know if I'm not saying I was close to death or anything, but I was pretty jacked up.
Yeah.
So, but I remember it as well, like you say, and I don't remember much about that age,
Was it painful? Oh man.
No, it wasn't painful. It was weird. I thought maybe I swallowed a pin or some dumb shit. I used to put goofy shit in my mouth.
Yeah, you're a kid, yeah.
Christmas balls and shit, Can
you imagine if that happens now as an adult? You're going to be freaking out, right? You're like, ah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a different time. I don't want to say I worry for you, but it's just when I raised my kids 15 years ago, it was a lot easier than.
Yes.
I mean, I have a lot of love for you just for that alone to tackle that as a father. I mean, you're the right man for the job, but not every man's up to the billing. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough for you guys now.
Yeah.
I mean, you never stop being a father. I'm just talking about the young kids,
Yeah, I think it's a generational thing too. I mean, like every generation had their craziness, and it just seems like it's getting crazier, or maybe it's just in our head. I don't know, man. But yeah, you're right. It does seem like it's going to be rough for our kids as they get older, especially the way the country's going and the world's going. Not to get political, but
no, I know.
less back in the day, but different stuff to worry about. I mean, my parents are black and white. Yeah. Imagine that in the 60s.
Yeah.
Wasn't necessarily, so everybody had their challenges,
Yeah. You know what I love now? There's so many mixed races and there's so many beautiful children and so many beautiful human beings from mixing things up. It's going to be, even the next 10, 20 years, it'll be even better. I'm a big fan.
Me
Some of
too.
the best people are little mixes of the different ingredients.
That's what I always joke around about. I said, if I'm president one day, I'm going to bridge the gap.
The bridge, the key word, the bridge. And that's what we are, Jamie. The
I'll bring
bridge.
everybody together.
That's why I do this thing, brother.
Hmm. And then we'll have you into the Oval Office, and we'll have
I'm a good public relations guy.
I believe it, and I'm seeing it.
Yes.
I'm going to keep promoting it.
I'm auditioning for you to work for you in the futures. Right here in you know what I almost did, but I couldn't find the right outfit. I was going to wear a business suit.
I would have been like, oh man, I'm underdressed.
Yeah, I know. One thing I like about your shirt is it's the same. It's the Godfather font. What is Sup Lord? What is that? Oh, supplements of some kind.
Yeah, supplement lord. It's kind of like drug lord, but we're legit.
That's you.
That's me. I'm the sup lord.
Yes.
Yeah. A big Godfather.
I love
that's
it.
one thing, and my wife, she hates it because like whenever I'm watching a show, it's usually a mob show. That's my favorite.
You like Sopranos?
I got to go back and rewatch all those because like when that thing was at its height, I was so busy I didn't get to watch every episode. But all the movies, I'm talking about all of them from back in the day, not just the popular ones. I love watching that stuff from all sides, the Irish, the Italian.
Oh yeah.
I'm just interested. That's just interesting because I take a little bit of that business.
Oh yeah.
Not all the crazy, but it's just entertaining for me too.
I listen to mob pop podcasts about the mob, documentaries. I don't want to be in the mob. I got friends, but I'm not in it. But there's so many lessons to be taken from those stories.
Yeah.
Some good, some bad, but you can learn from both.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. We don't really have to dissect it here, but you know what I mean? It's like you said, I think you can learn something from each and every encounter that from at the grocery store to something like this right here to, you know what I mean? Anywhere, your kids, how, I don't know about you, but I learned a lot from my kids. You know what I mean? And you almost feel bad. Like this little motherfucker who taught me to think
daily,
but you're proud and embarrassed at the same time.
Both.
Yes.
And it's a humbling thing as alpha males, right? Because you just go back and laugh. Like you go discipline your child. It's like when they're supposed to be asleep and you go in the room, like this happened just the other day. My wife and I went because two of them are in the same room right now, the two oldest, and they're dressed up in princess gowns and they're like playing nicely. Like you can't yell at them. So we just, close the door and we go back and laugh and say, yeah, they're cute, How are you going to yell at your kid for doing their homework at night when they should be asleep? You're like, do your thing.
You are blessed there, brother.
Yeah.
It's from watching mommy and daddy, man. The blueprints.
That's true.
They're always watching, even when you don't think. They're always watching.
Always.
You're like the dictionary on how to be a human being for them,
Absolutely.
You want to be a good role model.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's off the cuff here, man.
What's funny too is I get people who tell me, you seem like a good dad. And I have this thing where I say, well, I'll be known as a good dad when I'm dead because there's still time to mess it up.
Oh yeah. It only
takes what I mean? So I tell people like, yeah, my father is a great father and he's still alive, thank God. And I could say that he's a good father, but it's like, you still have until you're dead and gone to keep it. It's like having an A in school, you got to keep it, right? Oh, yeah. As opposed to earning it, you got to keep it. So I intend to keep it, God forbid.
Listen, I don't know why, but I can't see any of the comments on here. So I have them on my phone. And one of our viewers, Billy Berg, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah,
he wants to know what your absolute favorite Nat Fit shake is.
You know who Billy Berg? He's one of the distributors in Canada. And this guy has lost, Billy, I don't know how much weight he's lost. He's looking phenomenal. And he's been pumping the Nat Fit, selling it, using it.
The Nat Fit.
Yeah. So he's a valuable asset and friend up north in Canada. My favorite product has to be my baby, my very first one. Glazed donut protein.
Ooh. Do you mix that with? Tell me how do you make? There's various ways to make a protein shake. Some people use chia seeds. Some people use coconut milk, almonds, you know what I'm saying? Peanut butter. Do you have a concoction of cocktail per se
You know
of,
what, man? I'm
or
old school.
do you just throw it down the gullet with water?
I'm old school. Remember back in the day when all you had was chocolate and vanilla? There were no
Yeah.
fun flavors and it tasted like chalk. You just popped it right in water. So I'll do just water or milk, keep it simple because I'm always on the go busy. So I'll just pop the quick
No,
shake.
no,
My
no.
wife does the chia seed, the flax seed. She'll make
Yeah,
concoctions and smoothies and
no doubt.
put the fruits and greens in there. Yeah. So she gets creative. I just,
Right. You just throw
yeah,
it
but
down
the
the
flavors are
hatch.
good. Yeah. But yeah, my glazed donut was the risky product, but we had to make a statement jumping into this crazy business. It's like you can't just come out with a vanilla, especially when
Nah, you're right. You're right.
somebody,
It's got to be
you know,
something special.
yeah, because I'm not a former bodybuilder that's got 300,000 followers that's launching a supplement company. I'm an arm wrestler that nobody in the world knows except arm wrestlers.
I know.
So,
We got to change that. We got to change that.
oh, it's coming. We're getting trendy.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
happening pretty quick too, because I mean, I've seen some of your matches, but like over the past, I don't know, 6 months, maybe 8 months, it's just nat fit. And I'm
The
like,
buzz is growing. Yeah, thanks to guys like Billy Berg out there in Canada hustling, Kane
shout out to Billy Bird.
stuff out there. And yeah, and now we're in Europe and hopefully it keeps going, man. Then we can do some cool stuff for arm wrestling too.
Yeah. I like how you're investing in the sport itself by doing this. You could easily fill your pockets. I'm sure a lot of people in this sport can't wait and love to do it. Fill their pockets any way they can. But I mean, you're making a living out of it. But I think the fact that you have this goal and this mission to reinvest it into the sport, I even heard you say something along the lines of you would like to fund arm wrestling itself someday by making these profits.
Imagine that. Like,
Imagine that, dude.
there's so many opportunists out there.
Yeah.
They're everywhere, right? We see them. We know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's the hustle, whatever they want to do. I'm building a legitimate business here worldwide. So once we get moving, imagine what every area can do for arm wrestling if everybody's united with a homegrown company through arm wrestling, not some rich guy that's coming in to do something real quick and leave, which happens, and that's fine because it still builds up the sport. But we started with nothing, and we're still in the sport.
Yeah.
We got guys in the sport, I don't want to say buying into it, but they believe.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll keep going. Did I get too preachy? Did I get too preachy?
No, listen, I take it as far as it needs to go. I'm what you call, I ride the wave, man. That's what makes me different. I can take it all the way R-rated. We can go all the way to Toy Story, PG. Let's get family talk. We can talk about romance, defeat, victory, trauma, death, gains, all of it.
All a good story, ain't it?
All of it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Star Wars, dude.
Dude. Oh my God. That's love number 3.
Tell me about it.
Wow. You
Tell
know
me
what?
about Star Wars. Let's spend a couple of minutes on the Star Wars.
We can.
I'm a big fan myself.
Thank you. Because
Yes.
I
want to talk about the things that you love, brother.
love it. Star Wars is, that's here. Obviously when I was born, that was the year Empire came out, and that's my favorite movie, Empire Strikes Back. My cousin used to work for George Lucas, so I got all the games before everybody else did, before they hit the market, which was great. I was just like, playing these Nintendo games and stuff, and nobody had ever heard of it.
Right.
But so I was all into Star Wars, and I kind of adopted that. He's like the greatest movie villain of all time is the Emperor Palpatine, the Sith Lord. So I kind of said, well, I'm kind of an alter ego. I kind of take that. Like, I'm not that guy, but he's my favorite character in a movie ever. So I always post pictures and things. Yeah, just because he rose through the ranks undetected with all the knowledge and all the power through politics and exploited it and just ran with it and became the overall all power, right? Took out the Jedi. So that was kind of like my thing. But he ultimately gets in the end. So it's a great story. So I always kind of like poke fun at it. And I took it and ran with it. Now people like refer to me as the Sith Lord or whatever. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I have to arm wrestle Giannis so he can kick my ass. And then I'll retire. You know what I mean?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
He's nicknamed the Jedi, isn't he? Why? 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 How? What is it?
Dude,
Tell me about it. I don't know. I'm asking the question.
when you talk about lightweight, great, who's got not only the knowledge, but the skill and the strength and the
That's
history of just kicking ass. I mean, everywhere. Now
yeah.
he's taking losses and stuff, right? Like
Well,
we all.
everybody. That's one thing I learned is even the big name guys. They all take. It's like baseball almost. You gotta.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to lose. Yeah, he's just been consistently in that top tier for as long as I can remember, and
That's
he's
good.
always been that name, and he's always smiling. He's just this
Yeah.
happy dude, and you know what? And he's really into fitness. I mean, the guy's all about rehab therapy, and he takes
Yeah.
care of himself. Nothing bad to say about him ever. Like,
No, I don't get no bad vibes from him at all.
great dude, and a
There's
great.
another guy on the fix.
Yeah.
He's like always with them. What's that guy's name?
Oh, Raymond's
Yeah.
Lepins. Yeah, he's
Seen them together at
yeah.
times. He's another guy pretty chill.
Yeah, he's pretty cool too. Yeah, I've never actually had a long conversation with him, but
Right.
yeah, those Latvians know how to arm wrestle, man.
These guys from the other countries, you think they're born with arm wrestling tables instead of cribs?
Right, it's crazy.
I mean, it's, some of the like I see videos. Sometimes you get some weird friend requests in this sport, don't you?
Yeah, I'm almost.
I mean, like people from other countries, and you see some videos of like looks like medieval gyms built in the middle of a park, and these Slovakian dudes just getting at it, bro, in the snow with no shirts. It's crazy shit that goes on over there.
Oh, yeah.
Craziness. It's madness.
You follow Lars Robakin?
No, I don't know this guy.
I think he's
See
from
that guy? He does the wild shit.
Well, dude, he's always taking his dog. The guy's ripped, just jacked. He's like 6'6", and he's ripped. And he takes his dogs up into the snow. Like every training, he's up doing something like at 50,000 feet.
Yeah.
Just like total man's man, right? And he's just shredded. And he's just
Right.
out there in the snow, no shirt on, kind of makes you feel like less of a man when you see guys like that doing their thing. Yeah. Everybody's training harder than us, right? It's just, you got to have that mindset. So it keeps
Tell you
you
what,
polished.
there's one thing about this sport. I mean, some people train like all the time. And there's so many crazy contraptions that you can use to train, and half of them are custom made. Like Lucas Raymond,
Yeah.
I had a talk with him on New Year's Eve, and I was just like, how do you come up with this shit? You just look at it and like turn into Neo in the Matrix and just start calculating shit. It's crazy. I mean, it's the rarest sport of them all. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Lucas is a good dude. He's
Yeah.
I guess he's got that in his brain, like ingrained in his DNA, like how to
One of the
get
gifts,
with
man.
Yeah. And he's a strength competitor or grip strength guy too.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he's coming up with these contraptions,
Yeah.
and he's made a business off of it, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he told me he'll take a regular piece of fitness equipment and just look at it and mod it, basically. Because I thought he was coming up with this shit from scratch. I'm like, what kind of Einstein shit is this? You got to tell me. Because like I said, I like to know what's going on up here. So, you know what I mean? But he just said he takes regular fitness equipment. I'll say, I can do this, that, and the third. And made a business out of it. So, still little kid JV. Any childhood role models, be it athletes? I mean, we talk about Palpatine, but any athletes or actors, maybe it could be anybody. Anyone you looked up to as a kid?
Well, without getting too cliche, I'd say my dad.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah,
that's the dream. That's the dream. Nothing to be cliche there, brother.
Oh yeah, looking up to your dad and having him like you see Neil pick up how he admires his dad. Same kind of thing. Like
it's cool.
Just that respect and
yeah.
I wish everybody could have had that. I got a good dad. He was very, very physical soccer player. Soccer is really big in England. So when my grandfather came over here and introduced soccer to Southern California, our family took it and ran with it. And so I got to watch my dad play a bit, and and he's just overall good dude, worked for the government and did some top secret shit that I don't know about. And so he kind of was mysterious, but also present.
That's cool.
So his friends called him 007. So you got to imagine that was fun for me growing up with my friends. They were all
Yeah,
terrible.
bro.
So
Hell yeah.
it was fun. But other than my dad, I mean, as far as sports figures, definitely Arnold. I've always had a lot of respect for Arnold. It was just at what he did. Like, guy came over here, excelled in sports, took it to movies, went into politics. Like, he did everything that probably The Rock is going to do. The Rock is doing exactly that same path. You ever noticed?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, killed it in sports, entertainment, and then movies. And don't be surprised if he starts running for office. You know what I mean?
I'd vote for him.
Yeah.
Just because, listen, this is the only thing I'm going to say political is no matter whose side you're on, and I'm on neither because the real people who run the show, you'll never see their faces. But with that being said, the fact that Trump and Biden is all this country could come up with for two candidates is pretty fucking pathetic. You know what I mean? Like there's no attention ever to the third party. I see him in the next 10, maybe 2 or 3 elections, probably going after it. And we've done worse. You know what I mean? This guy Joe's falling asleep.
You know what? I studied politics in college. That was my path. And I studied national security.
Yeah.
When 9/11 happened, I got out of that because I was going to go that path and go military, but 9/11 wasn't my fight. So I decided not to go in as an officer.
That was right at Crunch.
Career path. I was going to go in that route, and I don't know if president was in my future, but I used to joke around about it because
nothing wrong with those aspirations.
Yeah, and I studied that, and I studied enough and knew enough to not want to get into it.
Ooh, can you give me a little nugget? Can you give me a little nugget?
So, yeah, I don't get into politics online because everybody's just
it's senseless bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
We're fucked. Everyone get over it.
Exactly. It's like the only thing you have control over, and most people don't even have control over their own lives. It's like, dude, just get up, go to work, because no matter what's happening, you still got to do your thing. So just do your thing.
Yes.
And don't take it too personal.
You're laser focused. You're laser focused.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see where we're at here, bud.
Where were we at? Little Jamie. Oh, man.
Arm wrestling at bars as a teenager? Over the top at 6 years old. Let's go with over the top at 6 years old.
Yeah, I was 6 or 7, I think, when that movie came out. And I of course I didn't see it in the theater, but when it came on TV, you have those man movies, those guy movies like Over the Top or anything Van Damme was in or Sylvester Stallone. So like you see it for the first time and it just stuck with me. So I remember arm wrestling my friends ever since I was, 6, 7 years old, not knowing that it was a sport. It just looked fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And then as you get older, you do that just like everybody, arm wrestling at lunch table.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah.
And when I say I was arm wrestling in bars as a teenager, I was 18, 19, 20, getting into bars.
How'd you get in there, bro?
Oh, we knew people. Yeah, I mean, and I still look young. I don't know how it worked. I still get carded.
You probably look, no homo, you probably look like 31, 32.
I'll take it.
Yeah. I used to look young, but I'm starting to get a little bit older. It's fine.
You look good. Yeah. You got the good haircut too.
Listen, I've been bald for a while. How long you been bald?
I was going bald in high school, like 17.
Ooh, that's a hurt piece, bro.
Bro, and I don't have the good black and white, so it was wavy, curly. It just looked ridiculous. Like if I could grow a fro, can you imagine how ridiculous I'd look?
I want to see. Do you have any high school pics with the funky stuff?
I'll find it. I'll find one. And it was
please send one.
So I just shaved it and it fit into a football helmet better. So it's 17. I just bigged it. So I've been, 23 years? How old am I?
Let's take 2 minutes.
23 years I've had no hair.
I'm going to take 2 minutes on the bick. Okay. I've never bicked my head. I know it's inevitable. I take the clippers to it once a week.
Okay.
Now I know once I start doing the bicky, that's for life pretty much, right? Now, how often do you have to do it?
Every other day in the shower, real quick.
Do you have a special razor? Do you use the blade like the old school, Jamie?
Like the Mach 3, just real quick, the triple.
And you don't get the ruffle truffles, you don't get the cuts and all that shit.
Oh man. It's like every 2 years, I'll catch it.
Nick yourself.
You keep bleeding because it doesn't stop bleeding when you do that. So yeah, it's like every couple of years something like that'll happen, but rarely ever. It's just real quick in the shower with body wash.
Yeah.
Haven't had a haircut in 23 years.
I know that is nice. Save a lot of money.
Yeah. I heard it's getting expensive now from what my friends
Oh my
with hair.
God. Yo, you know how much it costs for a female to get a haircut, bro?
Wife.
Bro, you're like a 3 digits.
Can you imagine?
Bro.
Like, oh yeah.
Can you imagine a man spending $100 on a haircut? She said some guys do. Do you think that guys spend $100 on a haircut?
I believe it. There are some guys out there probably. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's crazy.
I'm just scared, like when all my kids, my wife go out to do their.
Oh my God, your kids are gonna be wanting to get the flossy. Yeah. Ready for that.
But we don't ask questions. We just let them do it. That's what my dad told me. They're gonna do it. Just we won't understand.
I just let my kids find who they are, guide them along the way. I never tried to enforce any kind of. I mean, I learned. I took. It's sometimes looked at as unconventional. I didn't mold them. I allowed them to find themselves, but I guided them instead of you do this and don't do that, and you know what I mean. I didn't give them a green light to go stay out all night by any means.
Yeah.
But if they did something a little bit stupid, instead of screaming at them, I find that if you look them in their eyes and you talk to them calmly, you get through to them a lot more than if you holler and screaming. You know what I mean?
That's good advice.
Yeah, man.
I'll have to remember that when I get.
It's hard though. It's easier said than done. Trust me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Hey, hats off to you, man, for having 4 daughters. You know what? I was telling, was it one of the promoters? I can't remember who I was talking to about having 3 kids, 3 daughters, and yeah, we're gonna probably try for a 4th. And I'm just kind of accepting the fact that I'll probably have 4 kids, 4 daughters. You know, there's a guy in Alabama. What the hell's his name? He's got 7 daughters. Arm wrestler. 2 sets of twins.
Wow. One set. When you have one set.
Danny Gillian or Danny?
Oh.
Yeah.
I've heard the name before.
7 daughters.
He's if he ever hears this, I'm sorry, brother. He's gonna be broke for a while because they want the flossy when they get teens, man.
Hold on, one second. What?
Oh, go ahead, man.
My wife likes you. She just said,
yes. Do you approve? Does she approve?
Yeah, she did. She's listening. Are you listening? Okay,
she can listen all she wants. She's the star of the show.
You're family now, brother.
She's the star of the show. I'm a whole different animal.
Okay, perfect.
Uh-huh.
She likes you. She just came out to poke her head and tell
you. That's cool. What's her name? Can I say hello?
She just left, but yeah, she's on there. I think she's watching
she watches. What's her name? I want to say hello to her.
Yvonne.
How you doing? Jimmy G, the crazy paisan from Philly.
Yeah.
Got my new friend here, Jamie Sheldon. We're vibing out here, are we not?
Having some fun, man. This is good.
All right. I almost skipped over. So I want to go into high school, Jamie Sheldon. High school.
Man, a troublemaker.
Yeah, boy. This is the fun shit. I want to hear it.
I wasn't. I couldn't be. I'd get my ass kicked by my parents. I was.
Oh, they kept you on the up and up, eh?
Yeah, and I was.
That's good. That's great.
My horn, but I was that smart kid that played sports. So I mean, as long as I got 4.0 and played my sport,
you always got good grades, huh?
Yeah, I was the national. Well, for the school, I don't know how they do this award, but I remember getting an award my senior year. It was the National Scholar Athlete of the Year.
That's dope as fuck.
Yeah, so I got to find that medal and hang it up with my.
Man.
Yeah.
I graduated with. I went to college and I was working 3rd shift full time with my 3 kids, twins, babies, and the other one was like 3 years older, Elena. And I'd sit in the front of class. I'd go to work all night, go to class at 8. I'd sit up front on purpose so that if I fell asleep, the teacher would wake me up. And then I would go home and I'd sleep and then I'd get up and do some homework before class. I did that for 5 years.
Wow.
Man, it was worth it though. You do it for the kid. The things we do for the kids.
Working, 3 kids. School.
Yes. Good loving.
That must have been a crazy time.
Even though I have a business management degree, a bachelor's in business administration, I'm doing absolutely nothing with it. I graduated with honors, 3.5 or higher. But the thing is, in high school, I was a C and D kid. I didn't give a shit. I was just trying to get my willy wet, trying to score some touchdowns, man.
I think I was the opposite, man. Like when I got to college, I only went to the classes that were the ones I liked, like law and politics. So I aced those. But like geology, forget about it, right?
Forget about it. They
Yeah.
make you take so many classes that make no sense.
Dude, I didn't use my degree, political science, law.
Yeah.
I run a supplement company. How off the path was that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I understand, man.
That's
But
cool.
hey, it was a great experience though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It taught me all this, all I have in the background that no one gets to see that you
And
know.
nobody saw this except me. This guy takes notes. Like you are very thorough.
Do you want me to show them, Jack? Do you want me to show them?
Show them. They won't believe it.
I'm proud of this. I'm going to show you people. People say, is this guy real? Is he the real deal or is he full of shit?
Messaged me several times this week asking
Yes.
questions. Had me nervous for the first time ever.
Really?
I'm nervous as far
Wait
as
a
public
minute.
speaking. I'm like, oh, what's this guy going to ask me? He's digging.
Stop the press.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's good nervous though, right?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Hoping
All right,
I don't
guys.
have
So
to go.
before I do any, and I only do this for the church, 5 sessions, I'm just, whatever happens. When I do the church, I've never done this. This is crazy. I'm going to do this. Don't anybody bite off me near. This is bullshit. I got a whole chart here for my man. I'm going to get it.
I am
Right
not
there.
that cool to have that.
You're that
much-
cool, dude. You're that cool.
Man.
And you're that cool too for the side notes.
Oh, dude.
I'm ready. I tell stories, good stories.
You ever wrote a book?
No, but I'm going to make a movie.
Perfect.
I'm going to give you a
I'm gonna
quick.
go see it.
My whole purpose of doing this is to get around as many of you guys as possible, experience as much as I can in this sport. And after about 5 years, I'm going to write a movie about this sport, about this thing that we feel. Not listen, Over the Top was great, but it was about a guy who was trying to connect with his son. He just so happened to be a trucker who arm wrestled. Let's get real. Was it great? The matches were great. Absolutely. But did it fairly represent the sport? Hell no. Game of Arms was a little bit better of a representation, but it was too Hollywood. It wasn't real enough. Too much flair. In the middle is Jimmy G, who's going to make the real thing. I don't have the money right now, and I don't want to get too much into it other than the fact that the end game of all this, social media, arm wrestling, commentary, all of it, the end game is to write a movie, a real movie about this sport. And I'm going to do it before I die. Mark my words.
Love it. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
lady. She does this every time. Whoa. Okay.
I love movies. Love
Jamie
it.
Sheldon,
Yes, sir.
arm wrestling in bars. Can you give me at least 1 or 2 stories of you hustling and bustling, making the loot in there? What kind of hustle were you running there, son?
I'm gonna tell you where my hustle kind of went to.
Yeah. Give me the downslide, because we'll get to the redemption after that.
And it wasn't really a downslide. It was just
Well, everybody, you're a teenager, you know what I mean? We did dumb
Yeah.
shit. You know what I'm saying?
So, this is when I was in college, but I wasn't 21 yet. It's probably about 20. I really found the weights and got bigger. So I was about, back then,
Yeah.
I got up to 198 in college. But I don't think I was about 190 when this happened. Anyways, I'm at this local bar and I'm arm wrestling these football players from the local community college, just slamming them. And I didn't know what I was doing. It was just a natural ability,
Yeah.
So a friend of mine that I had known since 7th grade, female, she's like, oh, let me show you something. And she doesn't pin me, but she takes me into this position, which she basically hooked me and was holding me. I'm like, how the heck? Because she's a tiny little thing, right? That I've known since 7th grade. Turns out her dad was a professional arm wrestler that
Ooh.
lived obviously in the same city. And she had always said that her dad was an arm wrestler, but we never thought professional. We never thought that much of it. Just like, okay, he's just a guy who arm. No, her dad was Don McCleary, who probably arm wrestling since the 80s.
Uh-huh.
So she knew how to arm wrestle, which was crazy. So then after that, I started, it kind of like sparked my, oh, now I got to find this thing because it's a thing.
She gave you some problems, eh?
Yeah. So I always kind of joke around. Then I'd see her at some of the events when he was still pulling, and
Wow.
kind of funny because she kind of like just kind of, I should have just listened to her in high school. Then I probably could have started in high school and became better if I linked up with her dad at the time. So
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
crazy.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. So then after that, I stopped arm wrestling in bars because you beat enough big guys, and when you're not a big guy, you got to call your big guys to be there just in case.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I stopped. Then I found it, and then never arm wrestled in a bar ever again because we don't want to get people hurt.
Yeah. Do you have to get people to sign if you were to arm wrestle in a bar, don't you have to get people to sign like a waiver or something?
Nowadays, you might have to, yeah. Or
I imagine you being with the wall, you really are like gotta be careful where you can't just go to any random shit, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna show it to you. I've got this happens to be right here.
Huh.
This tabletop arm wrestling.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, I used to keep.
A
friend of mine gave it to me. Actually, my wife's friend's husband, who's a friend of mine now, he was a school counselor, and he used to have kids settle their disputes on that thing. So when he
that's cool as shit.
Yeah. So when he got promoted, he's like, hey, I don't need this anymore. You're an arm wrestler. I was like, yes, I want it. So I kept it in my trunk just in case, my friends were out and we wanted to arm wrestle to have some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bust that out anywhere, kid.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. Crazy. But yeah, I don't go around arm wrestling unless it's in an organized professional setting,
No doubt.
Yeah.
So when did you meet your wife? How old were you?
Recent. I knew my wife 11 months and we got married.
That's cool. That means you knew right off the rip. Listen, love knows no time. Some people, it takes 10 years to find out if they want to spend the rest of their life. Some people find out in moments.
It's a crazy story. Well, not crazy story. It's an interesting story. I mean,
I'd love to hear it.
One city over, but we had mutual paths, friends.
Mhm.
In fact, her high school was one of the new high schools in the area. And as a sophomore or junior, I think I played football against her team. She was a cheerleader and I was a football player, but I didn't know her. And we beat the crap out of her team.
Oh, yeah?
I always say that, piss her off. Anyways, when I used to run a nutritional store, God, we've been married 5 years now. So this was 6 years ago. My last day helping out at the original store before we opened mine, which is the one I run for the guy. My last day there in December, she pops in and I'm like, oh, attractive, young lady.
Yeah.
So I start, and she jokes around about this because I asked her like 1,000 questions. So it went from me asking those probing questions to help you with your health and fitness goals. I started asking like speed dating questions just because I was.
Oh, nice. What kind of questions did you ask her?
Yeah. So turns out I told her we were opening the other store down, 10 minutes down the road. She popped in one day after that I'm like, all right, got her.
Nice.
She said that she was stalking me online first. Like she saw me on their pages. Like, who's this like guy who's full of himself, this arm wrestler? What the hell is that? And she don't put up with any shit. So she used to kind of have fun, and it was kind of a cool little. And then we just hit it off. And 11 months later, we're married. Then we had a kid, another kid, started a business.
Nice. Is she involved? Is she involved in the business?
Oh yeah. She's a teacher by trade. So she teaches third grade. She's really involved in the business. I mean, she makes stuff here and helps me promote it.
To be able to do something that you love and just so happen to be able to make a living out of it is one of life's biggest blessings, I think. For whatever it's worth, man. I mean, I already know some of the stuff I'm going to ask you, but for whatever it's worth, I'm really proud of you. I love to see young men, successful men, good family men doing the right thing. And it should be automatic, but let's be honest, in this world, it's not. So when I see it, I give the dapper is due. Dapper Dan. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
How did you propose to her?
I bought the ring 2 weeks before I proposed. And ironically, we had to go to one of her friends. In fact, it was the friend who gave me this table. We were at their wedding.
Yeah.
And we were buzzed, having a good time. And I asked her to marry me that night. And she said no. She's like, you gotta ask me better than that.
Whoa.
It's funny. The next morning, because we were hammered, right? She didn't.
Yeah, boy.
I'm like,
what were you like? How?
I don't know. Probably. And that wasn't one of these like, oh, I got to do this over. I'm not going to rent a yacht and go like, damn.
No doubt, no doubt.
So I'm not that overboard kind of. I'm just pretty.
You don't need that. It's just about looking in her eyes and just saying.
Yeah. So I asked her the next morning, and then she said yes. So I was like, all right, cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but she said no.
Yeah, she made you work for it, dog.
Still does, man. Still does.
I was going to ask you what the dollhouse party was, but I figured it out.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool, man. That you
random. I did one like about a month ago or 2 months ago. I just walked by and I'm like, all right, I got to film this. And I didn't joke because they're just, you couldn't write, you mentioned a movie, you couldn't write a better script, right?
Yeah. You just see it. You're like, no way.
Yeah. So after that, I'm like, you know what, I could do this as like a monthly thing or a weekly thing. And if I remember and I have the time and walk by and it looks ridiculous. So I did another one like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. And then today I'm like, oh, come on, you got to be kidding me. So I filmed it again. So I'll probably continue to do that because it brings.
I would. I'm very interested in it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you mentioned you do that too, like with just people.
When I go to the beach in Jersey Shore, I have this. This is where the mind fuck. This is the Jedi training. What I do is I'll go down the boardwalk and I can look at couples and I can look at families. And if I focus, and you can think I'm nuts, but I have no reason to lie. And the more you spend time with me, the more you'll understand I know what I'm talking about. Is I can if I listen to a few words, listen to how they're said, look at the body language, I can figure out what's going on with that pair of people or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's called people watching.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do it. But I can come up with entire scenarios. Like if I see a drunk girl on the boardwalk arguing with her boyfriend, you know, I can, by the way he's walking, and I can tell what's going on, and I'll narrate the whole thing, Jake Ward style, but I'm not recording. And I seen you doing it with the dolls, and I go, well, I texted Jeremy, and I was like, we got to figure out a way to do this together because that would be a fun game.
The Art of Storytelling. What was that song from Outkast?
Yeah. You should send me a video sometime and let me
let you narrate it.
Let me do a thing on it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to say anything. You don't have to post it, but just send me one on low and I'll just do my own thing with it. I gotta have fun with it.
For the fourth one, I will just follow it.
Yeah, you don't have to say nothing. I mean, do another take for yourself.
Yeah, and then
you get one and I'll
absolutely.
Will you let me do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool.
That'll be fun.
How you doing?
Yeah.
All right. My other half has entered the buildings.
Hi, other half.
She said, let the man speak. Am I cutting you off too much?
No, you're not Gary Roberts.
No, he is.
I'm not. Gary goes, whoa, okay, hold on.
I love Gary, but yeah, Gary
I love Gary too, but he be cutting people off like a bomb.
That's why I cut him off on New Year's Eve, just because he does it to everybody else. So I'm like, Gary, you know, it's a joke. Love the guy.
I can't believe he survived 24 hours. I go to bed and I wake up and I go, are you fucking kidding me? He's still on there. Whoa.
He goes hard, man.
Yeah, the guy 24 hours and like 20 minutes or something.
Damn, what was he on?
He was on that good loving. I don't know.
Yeah, must have been.
Yeah. That's cool though. It's funny how when there's a cause, how this sport comes together when it really needs it, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah, I hosted a charity event several years ago, and the response from the arm wrestling community was everybody's like, what do you need? What do you need? Amazing. So you're right.
Breast cancer.
Yeah.
Best friend. $2,000 check.
You did your research. Yeah.
Brother, I did the whole 9 yards on you, my friend
Oh,
Ski.
man.
He can have an interview with you without you actually participating.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I
Oh,
can
you
tell
got-
by the notes.
Nah, but the fact that you were able to do that for her, that's where I get into the arm wrestling saves lives. I mean, not to say that was the make or break by any means, but with you being able to contribute to, helping her out like that, it was a beneficial, for sure,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah. It's good time.
All right, man, I'm ready to segue into NatFit.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can write that whole joint. I know that you started as a fitness trainer.
Mm-hmm.
I know that your wife was having a baby. I don't know if it was your first or second baby.
First.
You decided to say, you know what? I'm tired of making someone else money. I'm going to give this thing a go. You did. You went for it.
Yep.
The Natural. Jamie the Natural Sheldon. Nat Fit. Natural and fitness. Right?
That's it.
Can you explain to me real quick where the nickname The Natural came from?
Yeah. My favorite, if we go back, my favorite UFC fighter is Randy Couture, The Natural.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of always stuck out in my brain as something that I thought was cool.
Yeah.
When I started arm wrestling, for the first year, I was driving down to practice at Harold's house with Alan Fisher and all those guys, Jake Smith, when he got in. Every Saturday, I was driving an hour and a half to go train, and for about a year. And then I got busy with the job that I had at the time, so I never went to practice. So it kind of came out somehow, and I forgot where they said, oh, he's like a natural. He doesn't practice, and he still manages to do fine at the local level, because I would beat everybody at the local level without training. So The Natural. So it kind of stuck. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just take this and run with it as a nickname. And then when I heard Neil calling me that too, because I saw Neil my second tournament, and he had a shirt on that said UK Natural.
That's it. That's fate.
Being UK, which where my dad's from, and him being The Natural, and just because I like Neil's style, I'm like, I'm going to borrow his nickname. I'm going to borrow Randy's nickname, and I'm going to take it and run with it. And I told Neil that too, and he didn't mind. So I was like, all right, well, The Natural, there it is. And then it just managed to go. So yeah, then it led into a business. Weird.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
NatFit, is it just BCAAs, creatine, and protein, or are there other products as well, or are they the main ones?
Yeah, I like to call it the core 3 or core 4. So I have proteins, you got to have that, right? So other than a multivitamin, the top selling product on the market that's not doctor prescribed is a protein. So protein, BCAAs, pre-workout, those are the most popular. Then I've got a fat burning powder that we call Ignite.
Yeah.
Fruits and greens, which is just the fruits, greens, and vitamins all in one. And I long story short, you can't make money off a vitamin unless you're a big company making hundreds of thousands of units. And it's hard to compete with that. So I decided to add the vitamin profile to the fruits and greens, get it all in one. Then we're good there. And then we have a creatine, obviously. And then we just got into the joint support and test booster this year, last year. And we'll branch out because I got all these different ideas. Like we want to release a vegan protein because we have the demographic that needs it now, the demand. I want to have a nighttime formula. I want to have something for women because we got the test booster for the boys. We need something for the women, hair, skin, and nails and stuff like that. So
collagen shit.
Collagen. Yeah. We want to get into everything at some point when we can. So sky's the limit.
It's good to see you have building blocks.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking years out.
Yeah. That's great. I always do that. Even with these things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always thinking 3 steps ahead. I'm not expecting of anything, but I'm prepared for whatever, just like you are.
Not expecting, but prepared. I love that.
Prepared. Yes.
That's it.
Now, I want to talk about the ingredients. When I shop for supplements, you ever notice, do you know what a matrix is?
Mm-hmm.
Like how they'll fit different vitamins or whatever ingredients and into a matrix. When you see the thing on the back, the tag,
based on a
for my
2,000-calorie diet.
yeah.
Gives you the
Well,
breakdown.
what I've noticed is like the more numbers that you see of what's actually in there is the more realistic, because they could put a little of this, a little bit of that into the matrix and say that this is in there, but you don't really know.
Right.
So I'm just curious as to how did you how did you come up with your formula for how you make these products? Was it you? Did you hire someone? And there's so many different brands and versions of these products. How does yours separate from the rest? That's what I'm
Right.
getting.
So when I had this vision and being in the fitness industry for 20 years and running a supplement business for somebody else, you get to know just about everything,
Okay.
right? The average trainer doesn't know anything. They just know how to work people out, which is good enough for what they do. Anyways, so I made these products, and I tell people this all the time, to my standards. And when I say my standards, meaning what is popular, what is good for you, and what will sell to the grand scheme of the demographics, right? So when I came out with my protein, I called it a complete protein. And by that, I mean 99% of the population can take it, because there's still those people who are lactose or vegan.
Right.
Obviously, they can't take whey protein. So I don't mix everything myself. I have a lab that does that.
Okay.
So I tell them, I want this in my protein.
Okay.
And they send me, here's the ingredients, and here's what's going on the nutritional label. Different countries have different standards. And now that I'm branching out globally, I'm learning this, like, oh my God, we're trying to go at some point into like Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, India. Dude, talk about crazy. Like, it was crazy just trying to get into Canada. Like, I couldn't get stuff into Canada because their FDA, which is like it's called Health Canada, way too strict. So I have to have a manufacturing company in Canada make everything to their standards. So that was enough of a headache to like, okay, I see that this is going to be a lot more complicated. And you're right. When you look at the back of ingredient labels, they have proprietary blends.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, bro.
Yeah. So basically the only rule there is it has to list the products based on which is the most abundant. So if you see creatine is the first ingredient, it's mainly creatine, and it goes down the list. And the last thing is the less.
I get you.
That's the only rule as far as proprietary blends.
So
sense. I like to keep as much crap out, but put the good stuff in and just kind of like let it speak for itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like the name you said, short to the point.
Yeah, like our BCAAs, I don't want to be crazy. I just want the three the branched chain aminos, leucine, isoleucine, valine, and make sure it's not caffeine free, because I know like some companies like to add caffeine, but it's like, what's the point? You're trying to like increase blood flow and recovery. Why have caffeine? Because it'll restrict it. So I like to keep that out, keep it sugar free, simple, right? It's just those aminos, electrolytes, done. You know, some companies like to overcomplicate things just to sound cool or give it a douchebag name. You know, I wanted it to be something your grandmother can take,
right?
As well as the gym douchebag.
Yeah. Well, from a customer standpoint, sometimes when you look at a tub of something and you see all this cool shit in there, you're like, whoa, give me this. Yeah. But what you don't realize is you might have a trace of this and a trace of that in there. And sometimes the most effective thing is just what you need instead of having all that glitz and glamour on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's a really complicated business, man. And are there other good products out there? Absolutely. Like take our protein, put it up against another one. There's a lot of good proteins. Trust me, I've tried them. I've had them. What makes us stand out? Good proteins are everywhere. It's like, I always use the analogy. It's like you got 3 grocery stores by your house. Which one do you go to? An apple is an apple at every store. It's the location, the convenience, the family feel when you go in there. It's how they talk to you. There's a lot that goes into it as far as supplements too. So when people are doing this click button ordering online, because that's the way our world is, I'm trying to bring that fit in to bring that family vibe back. That's why I want territory distributors everywhere, because I don't want to just mail you something. I want to shake your hand, talk to you, find out what makes you tick. So that way you feel more comfortable taking our products. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So family. It goes back to that. You know, we're a Nat Fit family. And the product's good. And it tastes good.
Tastes good. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I've been working a 9 to 5 my entire life. I did it for my family. It sucks. And we're making someone else rich my entire life. When we get off of here and going forward, I know you sent me an email initially about it, but I'm sold on, like, I hear you talking about jump on now before it's too late. You know, you see the future. It's called manifesting. You know, if you do A, B, and C, D's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know that A is going to happen. You know B, C, and D, unless some cataclysmic event fucks everything up.
Right. There's always that we don't.
You're living your life as if this is going to happen. And just from the tone of your voice and how you say it, I can tell that you're not just out for the money grab. You see an opportunity to make a living for something that you enjoy and have a lot of passion for. And in that journey, you see an opportunity for other people to do the same. So I think that's dope as shit. And I'm going to explore that further with you after we get off here.
Absolutely, brother. You know, in being a people person,
Yeah,
is part of it. It's like,
absolutely.
yeah, if you got a sports fitness background, great, or a business background, great.
Yeah,
You don't have to. Like, it's crazy. It's
right.
just, if you're a people person, like, people, the product's good. I've made sure of that. The price is competitive to wherever you're at demographically. But I tell my guys and gals that sign on, people are buying this because of you, not because of what it is.
Right.
Then they start to adopt the whole family vibe. Then they start posting pictures like being proud of a Nat Fit family.
Yeah.
People like to wear the brand once they're proud of it, which is great.
I know. I got to get my hands on some of that merch, Holmes.
I got you.
Okay. You first launched in Canada before the US?
No. Sorry. We launched here first. So,
because you got Jeff and Kane, Jeff Frank.
Just Kane. Initially, we were going to have Jeff too. And then Jeff decided not to at the time. So Kane.
I'm just going off of past interviews is all.
Yeah. Kane took the reins. Kane is now the president of NatFit Canada, and he's kind of running the show out there.
Who's Kane? Tell me about Kane.
Kane Hemsing. He's been arm wrestling longer than me.
Yeah. I apologize for not knowing him, but as I get to know you guys, there's so many of you studs out there that I can only learn as I go. But go ahead.
Yeah, I never really talked to Kane early in my career. I would see him at events, like he came down to some UAL events when he come to the States. So the guy's been around arm wrestling for a long time. Very upstanding dude in the community. He's got a lot of respect out there in Canada. And he actually hit me up almost a year ago. So it was probably about 8 or 9 months from when we first spoke about this to when we actually got it put into place. And he runs a business out there. He's got a family business in construction, and he's a fireman. So the guy's a busy dude, takes care of business, and he's making things happen out there, along with distributors like, Billy Berg, and we're signing more distributors out there too. So yeah, Canada's off and running. Yeah. And I'm very happy with how that's going so far. But yeah, we started here in the States. We started with just me and the wife, just Riverside.
I feel like this is a good time to bring this up.
Yep.
Time management. It's a flaw of mine. Sometimes the passion and the drive doesn't match the follow through, just because, like, for example, I just listened to Epsy, the Total Arm Wrestling show with Barbosa today. Barbosa hasn't trained that much lately because of lack of events and stuff. And he's lost a little of the fire a little bit because he works a real physical job. And when you get older, when you're done the job and you need to train and stuff, it's not always that easy because the job takes a lot out of you.
Yep.
And that's what I'm going through. I'm in a plumbers union in Philadelphia. I deal with, I'm in a warehouse, but it's a real boring job, soul fulfilling, but it pays well. I'm thankful for it. A lot of people aren't working right now, so I'm not going to complain about the job, but it's not soul fulfilling at all. a lot of heavy lifting, boxes, weld, pipe and stuff. So when I get out of there, and I have to train or I have to do editing and stuff, I'm not making excuses. I'm just being honest. You know, when you're older, you can listen to your body when you're younger, but when you're older, your body will make you listen sometimes.
Mhm.
So time management, especially as we get older, is very, very important in being effective in whatever it is we're doing.
Yep.
So with you being as busy as you are, I would love to hear you kind of school me on time management in your world and how you have managed to use it as a skill instead of having it be a setback. I'm going to give the floor to you.
I'm by no means an expert, and my wife can vouch for that.
Yeah.
You know, like Barboza, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. And I think, and I don't know because I haven't asked him, but maybe he's kind of where I'm at, where I need a big thing in arm wrestling to train for it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
People-
That's his thing right now too. It's not
Yeah.
like he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't have that thing that person to focus on.
Because
Like,
he's done everything. So
Yeah.
it's like, if it's not a big match for
I
glitz
tell
and
you.
glamour, maybe that's what it is. But
No, I mean, when you get to the stature where you guys are, it's not like you don't need to go to Joe Blow's tournament to prove that you're who you are. You've
we don't have
earned
time. Yeah.
No, you don't have time. No.
Yeah. But I look at us as far as Nat Fit, like my wife and myself. My wife's more into fitness than I am. I'll be honest with you.
Really?
Man. In my 20s, I was in the gym. I was ditching class in college to go to the gym. So it made sense, which luckily I had the genetics too to stay lean and fit.
Right.
In my 30s, it started to die down a bit as far as my gym involvement. Nowadays, I go through spurts where I don't train, you
Me
know,
too.
and I have to have arm wrestling to keep me polished and keep me training for something. Whereas my wife wants to live fitness. I
Yeah.
mean, she had 3 C-sections and she's trying to work out like before she's able to walk.
Wow.
Things, right? You know, when I met her, she was doing clap push-ups and running every morning. And
That's
fitness.
inspiring.
Yeah. So when people look at NatFit, they look at us, they think that we live fitness like those guys who get on stage that are just obsessed. No, we're human. We drink beer, we eat pizza, we enjoy life, but we have managed to know how our bodies will respond. We don't let ourselves get too out of shape, and we enjoy life. We're not too obsessed about it. So
Right.
time management, as far as fitness, luckily we have the home gym. I could work out here when I need to in the mornings around the kids, or at night if we have to, if the kids are crazy in the mornings. But business time management, especially in these early stages, like I told the wife, I said, I'm going to be crazy for the first several years till we get this thing rolling. Like
Yeah.
my stress level has been, because I took a huge risk. You know, I left crappy, dude.
Can you tell me about that risk? Like,
For the last
how did
10
you
years,
know? How did you know? Like this, you must have been in your car or something. Like there was a moment where you like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, can you tell me about that that special moment, please?
Well, until now, until this business, 10 years ago, I was making the most money I ever made. And it got less and less every year until I started this, because you reach a ceiling.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking for the gyms and you're in management, if you can't go any higher, you're screwed, right?
Yeah,
And
you just
really took it back in the day, and they restructured everything, and people can't make as much money as they used to. So then I went into this supplement thing, working for somebody, thinking I could build it. But if it's not yours, you can't really do much.
no doubt.
So I took a huge pay cut to go do that. I told my wife, look, I'm going to try this. Let's see what works. And then we got married, pregnant. There came that time to where it's like, do we want to pay for childcare while I still work? And it's like, why? Now's the time to go start this thing that I was thinking of many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And I was cultivating myself to get to that point. So
Yeah.
I remembered Steve Harvey's little quote. I don't know if that video is still on. It's on YouTube, where it's in between filming the Family Feud, and he talks to the audience about jumping. You got to know when to jump. And it just, so I said, I'm going to jump. And I took this life risk to start a supplement company, which was just stupid at the time. Cause you know, you're not famous, you're not rich.
Right.
Who the heck's going to buy from us? Arm wrestling, provided I know people all over the world.
Yeah.
We'll start small with big aspirations, and let's see if we can get there. So, yeah, I've been stressed out like crazy for the last 4 years, and my time management's crazy. I want to do all this, and I don't have the time, and I try to, and I'm working when I shouldn't be, and I'm always thinking about it. It's crazy, but it's taken off. So hopefully over time I can stress less and have better time management. Then I'll be able to give you a better answer.
Yes. Well,
it's working though. It's working.
it is. It's working. It's working really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
let me see. All the buzz came from your networking. You didn't even spend any money on advertising.
none.
I think that's phenomenal. All this buzz is just from your networking.
It's like I tell my guys, I post daily. I tell them post daily. It's going to spread. Okay. At least if it just like every time we get into territory, like we just got 2 more arm wrestlers on in the last 2 weeks from different states. Buzz is going to spread there. My first year, we spent $8,000 on apparel to get all over the place.
Yeah.
So people could wear the brand. We got the supplements going to every state. I'm shipping to every state. I need a distributor in every state, then every county, and then we'll just, from there.
It sounds like you must be on the horn all day long, right?
Dude, my phone rings off the
I
hook.
bet, dude. I'm just because what I do when I'm talking with you guys is when you're telling me some of these things and you might see me look here or there, I'm actually putting myself in your body as you're doing it. And I'm like, imagine if it was me, doing exactly the things that you're saying. And I'm just like, imagining all the phone calls and the emails and the forms and you're dealing with other countries. I can only imagine being on hold or whatever the fuck you got to go through to talk to these people.
You know what I did 20 minutes before we got on this thing and started it? When I text you, I'm in front of my computer. I was sending invoices and stuff that I wouldn't have to do later on tonight because I wanted to focus on
just getting ahead of the game.
Yeah,
Love it.
I got it dialed into a system. Like at some point, I'm gonna have to hire somebody to do all this stuff because I don't want to do all the paperwork and orders and things like that. Which great, it's not a bad problem to have when you have to hire somebody.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I'm doing everything.
Yeah,
I'm delivering to people, shaking hands if they're cool with it. Curbside delivery with masks on. Like I'm doing all the hustle work. So I'm not
all
just
gonna pay off.
Yeah.
There's time. I mean, I'm not doing anything remotely close to what you're doing, but there's times where I'm up I work 10, 11 hours a day, and then I'll be editing for 5, 6 hours, and I don't end up not sleeping for 2 or 3 days because it just means that much. And it's just,
you have the drive.
yeah, if you have the drive that no matter what anyone tells you, you're not going to listen because you feel it that strongly. I think that means something.
Yeah. And people,
whatever it is that your fire is,
people didn't think we'd be able to get this to where it is. And I still have, like, it's crazy. I have a friend, very, very successful man, told me if everybody you know isn't buying from you that takes supplements, shame on them. And I thought about that because he owns a business, several. Like the guy rolls in Rolls Royces and Bentleys and just he's got stupid money. And I took that to heart. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Not that I'm saying people have to. That's fine.
All right.
That is a great mindset to have moving forward.
See, that's you learning from a random situation.
Right.
We're in alignment here, brother.
Yeah.
Right, keep
and
going.
I took that crazy risk, and I tell all my guys, I took the risk, and I made it easy-ish for people to jump in because we're not by any means a multi-crazy million company yet, but to franchise one of those, you're spending $25,000 to $300,000 just to franchise. Whereas I kept this affordable for everybody who's jumping on at the beginning. At some point, we're going to be worth a lot of money, and it's going to cost a ton of money to jump into Nat Fit. Because at that point, we're not going to need people.
I want to jump on board. Yeah.
We'll chat.
Yeah, for sure. Nat Fit 10 years from now. Give me a quick glimpse of Nat Fit 10 years from now. What do you think? If all goes well. If all goes well,
I hope to be everywhere in the world. and I say I, meaning NatFit everywhere in the world. I want a NatFit India, NatFit Russia. I posted all that today.
Yes.
I want distribution in Japan. We could get it there, and they can spread it out over there. I want somebody
Japan
running.
arm wrestling is probably big. I've seen a movie about it.
Right. And there's arm wrestlers everywhere. And I get hit up all the time from guys in the Middle East. I'm like, guys, you can get it there, but I need to take on an endeavor like that overseas.
When you're
At that level will cost 6 figures minimum for somebody to get everything in order and have the demand and the network to distribute it all so it doesn't expire, right? So it's a huge operation to go out there. I can't just ship to India. Like, we're not there.
I was gonna say, how do you know? I mean, I know you're trying to spread these seeds everywhere, but how do you know when you're with the right people?
Man, that's the risk. It's like I've had people come and go that were distributing.
You get some funky,
or that thought it was cool, got in when it was cheap, and didn't do anything with it, which is fine. Some people
you're not gonna win. You're not gonna hit all home runs,
right? Then there's some guys that are doing it very, very well and building it in their states, getting it into stores, selling more, making more money, and they're in it for the long haul because they have that mindset.
I'm calling you. I'm calling you when this is done. Sure, you got me fired up, dude. You got me fired up.
So yeah, I'd like for us to be everywhere. I would like for this to be a major player in the fitness world. Like when you go to a fitness expo, we're not just this little booth.
Yeah.
We run the mother.
I love it. I love it.
Maybe start my own arm. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to start an arm wrestling league, but I have plans for arm wrestling leagues.
Yeah.
You know, so when all that's where it should be
in time,
I think we'll be good. 10 years from now, I'll be 50. Then I'll go get my sports car. I have to get a bigger SUV now because, you know, we need. Anyways.
Hey,
so,
that coastal drive in California that I hear about. I've seen it in so many movies. Have you ever done it?
Yeah, we did it. 2016. My wife and I went up to San Francisco. And then
am I going to be anywhere near there?
You know, I don't know where I shipped to Paul.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know where his city is. I think he's in Petaluma, right? Is he where arm wrestling was born? Like where Luke Kent?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to link up with Luke Kent.
I think you might be there, brother.
Oh, you're going to enjoy it. Yeah, Luke's one of my oldest friends in the sport. Yeah, so we drove from San Francisco down to Carmel, where Clint Eastwood's the mayor.
Clint Eastwood's the mayor?
Yeah, it's a nice little...
What?
Yeah.
What? The real Clint Eastwood, not the fake one?
Real one. It's a nice beach city. It's real clean.
Where's this at?
It's in Carmel. It's several... God, I don't maybe like a couple hours south of San Francisco, I believe. I can't remember. I drove it. We drove the long, I forgot what that route was, but we went through Carmel, Pebble Beach, and took that long route down. My wife fell asleep. Like she wanted to do it, and then she fell asleep, and I'm driving like the ocean's right here. So I've done that drive, you know. Yeah,
is it dope?
It's nice. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah, I'm all about that shit.
We got a lot of areas like that in California, though, where it's just wide open and just like 5 freeway because it's boring. Take the Pacific Coast Highway, the one. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna segue into arm wrestling here, bud.
Yeah.
You started in 2005.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I after like this is a couple years, 3 or 4 years after. My friend, the female, told me about the arm wrestling and her dad. I'm like, okay. So I started taking it more serious. And then 2004, I remember watching ESPN and I saw Ron Bath, Mike Saliris, Bill Sinks. And I saw these guys battling on ESPN. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So I looked up the next tournament that was going to be local. And there was one an hour and 20 minutes from my house, Northern LA. So I decided to go up there. And that's where I met Luke, Alan, and a bunch of other guys. I saw Bill Berzink there, John Berzink's brother. That's the only time I've ever seen him.
Did you know who they were before you met them? Or
I knew who Alan was just because I remember him from the movie.
Okay.
we used to watch that movie so much that you remember every face.
No doubt, no doubt.
Everything. Remember what shirt they're wearing in the movie. Like you just have that photographic memory. Like I knew who Cobra was before I knew who Cobra was.
I know.
You know? So and obviously doing some research on the movie, you find out it's a real tournament. Then you're like, these are real dudes. So I saw Alan and I decided not to pull his weight class because, you know, I had to humble myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled amateur, won, but I had to arm wrestle Alan anyway in the overall. So that was my first professional arm wrestler that I had to arm wrestle was Alan Fisher.
What was that feeling like as you walk up to that table and you're like, holy shit, I'm about to arm wrestle this guy? What was that like? Knowing who he was, Alan Fisher.
I told him, don't hurt me.
And
he didn't even he just slammed me down like that. And I'm like,
yeah.
And I just completely fell in love with the sport at that point.
Yeah, to see the way how smooth some of these guys are, it's just like, man, I really hope I can catch that someday.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Bruce Lee, so many reps that then it becomes probably somewhat, what do you call it? Instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do it in your sleep.
Because when I first started doing it, it's like, all right, 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean? I'm very robotic with it, but after a while, you don't even think about it, you know?
And you'll go through phases where it clicks in different for you. Like I didn't reach a peak until, you know, just a few years ago. So, you know,
after that, you went amateur your first tournament. How long were you an amateur before you went pro? How did you know when it was time?
I did amateur and pro both for the first year.
Okay.
Like the next tournament I went amateur in Vegas, and that was the biggest tournament I've ever seen in my life. As far as the pro content, it's where everybody came out. Ingen Terzi, everybody was there from Europe that was anybody at that tournament. That was when the Best Damn Sports Show was involved, and Travis sold the sport to everybody when he was on that show with John Sally and Tom Arnold. And crazy time. Like I've seen so many different peaks in this sport where you're just in awe of where it's going, so you fall in love with it even more.
Yeah.
I figured, okay, I'll do pro and amateur everywhere I go. And then I won this tournament out here, which was, they call it the World Amateurs. And it's kind of like the last amateur tournament you should get under your belt before you.
Right.
And I did that the same year. So 6 months later, I won that and then just did pro ever since then. I went to my first nationals the first year, 4 months into the sport. I went to nationals, got my ass kicked.
Nice.
Flew home like, okay, I see you.
Nice.
It took me 12 years to beat the guy who won it.
Yeah.
But I beat him.
Fun. When you come full circle like that, though, I imagine after a victory like that, it's probably more sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Because you remember.
I remember my first tournament. I did pro 165, and it was one of them little town tournaments. It wasn't like a big thing. Mm-hmm. And I won. And I was like, whoa, I won pro. I didn't even know what I'm doing. I'm like, then I moved to Philly a couple of years later. I didn't know, it was next year. I didn't do any arm wrestling before or after that tournament. A year later, I come home, I go to this tournament, and the guy, Steve, my coach, he goes, I'm going to do pro. And he goes, you sure? And I go, yeah, man, I already won one. Shit, I'll win this shit. Ain't no problem. And I don't know if you ever heard of a guy named Joe Schaefer, but he's a guy on the East Coast who's a pretty well-known guy. And I get on the table with him, and he does the whole where you use your body and lean with it. And I'm not used to it. I'm used to like you say, bars or in school where, And I'm just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I didn't know what was going on. It really humbled me. And I went to the practice the following week. And the first couple of practices, when I would be done, my arms would be so blown up. I was afraid that they were going to explode. And I couldn't drive for like 20 minutes. I had to sit my hands on the thing. And I go, how the fuck am I going to do this? Because it hurts so bad. But you get used to it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Great experience, dude. Those first few years, you're just like, ow. And the pain travels to a different spot. And then you change your style. And then you're going to be in pain somewhere else. And then finally, you just live with it, you know?
Let's talk about pain for a second, because I'm dealing with some shit right now where I'm sure inner elbow pain is familiar to Just about any arm wrestler's been in this for a while.
Yeah.
So when it's nagging you for a while, it's a gray area when you decide when you're trying to figure out injury versus soreness, especially when it comes to tendons.
Mhm.
What do you do when are you predominantly right-handed like dominant, or are you pretty even? You're right-handed?
I've only competed once left-handed
Yeah.
because
So
I
if your inner right's dinged up, how do you continue training? Do you rest? Do you do the bands? This is just for me personally, because this has been nagging me for a little while. It's like I'll do some band work and some, light stuff to get the blood pumping, and it'll be fine. And then as soon as I pull, it'll hurt. Like it's certain things won't hurt at all. And then as soon as I start going in it a little bit, I feel the pain and it just won't go away. I mean, what do you do when you deal with that kind of shit?
well, arm wrestling's weird, man. I come from the gym background, so gym training was predominantly what I did. Like my first couple of years, I was arm wrestling as much as I could, going to a tournament every month. So you're always beat up, never
Yeah.
healthy, never healing. I never had any serious pains until about 3 years ago. I pulled Jeff Hale, and my hand, after that match, my hand just the worst it's ever felt, and it wasn't getting better. Pulled Tom Holland, my elbow was the worst it's ever felt, and nothing was healing after that.
Are you
So I
talking about
thought
the 404 with Jeff Hale?
that whole year was the
Uh-huh.
worst pain I've ever been in my life after those matches in those two areas. So I thought, dang, this isn't getting any better. Let me go get checked out. I'm getting older. I've been in the sport 15 years. Let me see if I'm done. And I was ready to hang it up because I couldn't lift weights. I couldn't do anything. I took 6 months off of everything. I didn't do anything. Now I don't have any pains. It's
Yeah.
weird. I've been loading up. This isn't a product plug, but I've been loading up on all my supplements and things like that. And I've noticed that obviously BCAAs are designed to help with getting lactic acid out of the muscles and recovering that. It's all connective tissue. So while it's not going to cure any major problems, if something's taking pressure off the muscle, pain off the muscle and recovering there, who's to say that it can't hit the connective tissue, the tendons, the ligaments, and even down to the joints, right?
Yeah.
I don't arm wrestle every week. I don't arm wrestle every day like Devin. I'm not built like that. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'd rather work out.
You're
get
listening to your
stronger.
body.
I pull twice a month, maybe. I go to practice at least once a month, but maybe twice a month at most recently. And I'm never in pain anymore.
Right.
But 3 or 4 years ago, I was ready to quit.
Wow.
I said, this is just getting too unbearable. And it was
Yeah.
terrible. So there hasn't been any real study in arm wrestling and how to heal properly. There definitely hasn't been a study on supplements in arm wrestling. So it's like we're kind of doing this as we go. There's never been a clinical study, to my knowledge, on any of this. So none of it can be taken as medical advice.
Yeah, no
Even
doubt.
then, case by case, arm wrestling just isn't popular enough to have sports medicine.
No doubt. Yeah.
So what may work for Ron Bath, who worked with his hands his whole life, what worked for him may not work for like a Todd Hutchings or you or me.
I guess it's kind of like, this sport's rare in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of ways.
We have similar injuries to like baseball players, tennis.
No doubt.
Similar. Golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, and then baseball, they've got the same.
That Tommy John shit.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I wish I had the right answer to that. I only know what's helped me.
Yeah.
One of it was not arm wrestling as much.
Sometimes that's really all you need is a little break.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
That's true.
Your workout routine when you first started arm wrestling, you did mainly arm wrestling stuff, but you eventually switched it over into the more full body routines. Because that's what I was directed to do. And that's what I've been doing as far as, because I was doing full body, I was in the gym doing full body stuff, prepare for football and stuff. So before, but arm wrestling specific training was very new to me. You could spend 45 minutes on one cable with a couple different tools.
Right.
And, but you found that you feel better with the full body stuff versus just.
Yeah, I have my training regimen, let's say leading up to a match or something or a tournament. a good 3 months in the gym. I'll lift heavy, but I'll have those light days too for repetition. But I'm hitting arms and back 3 days a week, chest twice a week, triceps and shoulders twice a week, and I'll do legs once, maybe, if that. Usually trying to keep the weight down. Although in my later years I've been heavier, because I like to sit heavier. I like to have muscles. So when I was competing at 154, I hated it, but I figured, well, I could make this weight. That's the way to go, and that was the wrong mindset. I should have stayed in the 180s and just cultivated myself as a stronger, bigger person to be a better arm wrestler there. And now I'm seeing the benefits of that. Like I'll get up to 198. I got up to 200 pounds last year.
What are you weighing right now?
182.
That's pretty normal for you, yeah?
Yeah, around 180 to 190, depending on what my diet's like. And I have to compete at 185 in 2 months. So my rigorous, I'll probably put on a little bit more weight and then just kind of like diet down for that week before. But yeah, man, I mean, mainly gym, and then I'll go arm wrestle twice a month. I'll have 1 day a week, usually a Friday, where it wasn't today. Couldn't get it. But arm wrestling specific, but it's upper body. Just it's like an arm day and a back day, but arm wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the 1 day that I have set aside for arm wrestling training. I don't have any handles. I don't have any of that stuff.
Oh, see, I don't have all these cool, fancy toys. I don't have. You could spend your damn life. There's so much shit out there. There's a lot of money to blow on it. I just don't have it. Not yet.
And I get the need for it. It helps.
Yeah, I know. If you got it, if you got the cheddars, why not?
I got enough stuff here that I can modify it.
One thing I learned in my gym training throughout my life, when you're like trying to find, like I used to really be into the magazines, finding workouts through the magazines. I used to have the Arnold encyclopedia, John. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Arnold, I used to have that. That's where I started. A lot of people use that for references.
Very popular book. Yeah.
But damn, I lost my point of thought on that shit.
Magazines is what we grew up with, right? Muscle and fitness and strength. And
yeah.
Now there's specialized training. There's West Side Barbell. There's like specialized programs for people. And imagine if you knew about that when you played football. We didn't know anything. We just did deadlift, and I was over there curling because I wanted biceps.
Yeah.
All right. Still curling. How you like that?
In our training, are you on a team? A team?
Yes. Derek Smith has his team. Yeah. I call Derek my son because I took him to his first practices and kind of cultivated him. So he's my son.
Yeah.
But he's got a team, and he built up, 20, 30, 40 arm wrestlers there that train. So I like to consider, you're Italian.
Yeah.
Godfather. I like to consider myself with his team. I'm the consigliere.
Nice.
I'm not part of the family, but I'm the oldest arm wrestler there. I'm the most seasoned guy, and I'm kind of the voice of reason for them.
Yeah, that's what I am. Voice of reason.
Pop in and out. Yeah, it's his team, and I'm there to support it. And I train the closest team, and they're good dudes and good girls.
Who's Harold Riding?
Harold Riding is the guy that took me under his wing and made me a better arm wrestler.
Is he still around?
Yeah, he just went to the last practice I was at. He's gonna get back in the sport.
Shout out to Harold Riding.
He was actually there. I asked him to be in my corner with Jake Smith when I pulled Allen. So he was there.
Cornermans. Let's talk cornermans. How important is that in a super match? The cornerman.
It's good. They might see something you don't see.
You always have one with you? Do you ever go into one alone?
Well, when you travel, it's kind of tough. Like I asked Ron to be in my corner because Ron. I've always had the highest respect for Ron Bath. I've looked up to him as an athlete.
Oh, yeah.
He's an overall good dude. So he was in my corner for one of the matches. It's good to have somebody in there just in case you need somebody to rub your arm down.
Oh, that's crucial. I got a Mr. Miyagi dude on my team. I call him Miyagi. He goes like this.
Perfect.
He does the whole John.
You need the water, and you need somebody to probably smack you out of a, hey, wake the fuck up type of situation.
For sure.
You never know. So it is good to have support.
Yeah. Good.
I like to say, even though people train with teams, it's an individual sport. I mean, it's you against you. It's you against the guy you're pulling, but the support is very, very big. It is nice to have that.
It's weird when you go from commentating and being funny to getting your name called and you got to switch like that. It don't always work. It don't. Because I'm like, oh, shit, I got to get serious. And then it's too late. I'm already fucked.
It's true.
Let me see where I'm at here. Dallas Langston, Derek Smith. These two men mean a lot to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I hear a lot of good things about these two guys. The more I learn about
glad
them.
you mentioned those two names because
Tell me about these guys.
I've watched them since, God, I feel like the dad, the old man now.
Aren't you proud, though, seeing
Very
these guys grow?
Very
Yes.
proud. And I talk to both of them, every other day.
That's great.
Derek's doing amazing things. It's his time to shine in the sport. Cares more about the sport than anybody I've ever met.
Where did that come from with him? From you?
No, he's a passionate dude. Whatever he takes, he makes it his baby.
Okay.
So I'm not just going to do arm wrestling. I want to have a team and help people while I'm pursuing my interests. And he's managed to do both. Because when he wanted to have a giant team and run it like a team, I'm like, you're crazy. It's like a big family. You're out of your mind. And I said, look, and I tell people who join the team, I said, arm wrestling's crazy. It's like, you're going to hate things. So I've managed to keep in and out of things. I don't get caught up into drama.
I know there's so much of it.
Very proud of Derek. He's going to do big things. He already is. In Dallas, I remember Dallas showing up to my old store, had a lot of power, but never knew how to use it. And now he's making a name for himself. He just beat the number 4 guy in the country, and he should be ranked number 4 now. So expect big things from him because things are still clicking for him. So as things click even more, he'll be the best.
How long has he been in the sport, Dallas?
Shit. I got videos from
Pretty new, or has he been around?
4 or 5 years ago when we're maybe 6 years, I think he's been in 5 or 6 at the most.
Did he come from another sport, or is he just a bad dude?
I don't know if he came from he lived when he was living in I think
Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas.
Did he live in Dallas?
He lived in Utah for a while.
I'm just kidding.
I think he's from Utah originally, and then he moved to Southern California, back to Utah, and now he's living in Southern California again because, you love the weather. And him and his wife are total Southern California. You look at him, you're like, yep, Southern California, ripped, tanned.
If anything, if life ever gets back to normal, I'd love to see what the south part of the state's like. Is it like the movies, man?
Which one?
The south part of California, like where you're at, is it just like the movies? Is it dope like that?
Yes.
What's that beach called? Venice Beach?
Oh, you go to Venice Beach, you can just sit there. You like to people watch, you're going to see some weird, interesting people.
I imagine.
Muscle Beach is right there. I mean, you want to get away and be entertained.
Yeah.
Go there.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's like Vegas. It's a mini Vegas with water.
You said Derek Smith is a world champion video game guy?
You know what? That's where he was introduced to arm wrestling because he met Ethan Fritchie, and Ethan Fritchie was a gamer. That's why they call him the gamer. And these guys were professional gamers, making money, sponsored.
That's
gaming
nuts.
way bigger than arm wrestling.
That's nuts.
Crazy. Yeah. So that's where he came from. He was like on one of the top ranked teams. I don't know the logistics because I'm not the gamer. But
crazy how much money they can make from that, right? Though,
right?
It's nuts.
Amazing. So that's what he did. Found arm wrestling and then got in touch with me, and then now he's made arm wrestling his baby.
So how long have you known Derek?
Since I think he's going on 9 years now.
That's awesome.
10 years.
Is he in he's in the California area too?
Yeah, he lives like 25 minutes from me.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'll see him. I go to his practices.
You know, one thing I loved about you that I heard you say, you said it's everyone's responsibility to help grow the sport. And if you're not here to help grow the sport, you don't really belong. I really felt that. That really meant a lot to me because it's like if you can get, you have good and bad apples in any and everything you do, every job, every sport, every this or that. But the more people that you can get that want to grow it, and there are a hell of a lot more people in this sport that want to grow it than don't want to grow it. You know what I mean? I just think that was just a cool quote I wanted to bring up to you to let you know I felt that shit.
I appreciate that. It's that whole give and take thing, right? There's too many takers in the world. I'm not
Yeah.
saying everybody has to give.
No, but what I'm saying is like, for example, one of the major things for us amateurs is being able to either talk or train with you guys at the elite level. Like, for example, if I was a receiver, wide receiver trying to make it in the NFL, do you think Terrell Owens is going to let me come over his house and throw football with him? No, he's not. Tom Brady's not throwing me a bomb in the parking lot.
Right.
But there's times where you guys are either having a seminar or practice or a tournament even, and you mix it up with us like we're regular guys. And I don't know how many thank yous you get or how many guys that tell you that it means something, but that's a major, major, major part in getting us new guys hooked into the sport is the transparency with you elite guys and how you're willing to engage with us and help us move along to help grow the sport.
And you know what? That's exactly how
I'm saying thank you from all the amateurs. That's what I'm saying.
My pleasure. You know, I probably don't get, I know I don't get messaged as much with the elite heavyweights, and like nobody's, inboxing me as much as Devin, but people who do, I'll respond. Absolutely. I'll tell them where they can go, where, you know, and what's happening. If I can get to that, because we get a lot and I'm a busy guy. But yeah, if it wasn't for guys like Harold who did the same thing, took me under his wing. Second tournament, he's like, yeah, you were at that last tournament. I live here. Come to the house. Now he's one of my best friends. So you're right. If it wasn't for guys like that, willing to be inviting.
Yeah, man.
You know what? Then
because this sport can be intimidating to newcomers who watch some of these wars and some of the craziness. But I think the more that they get to see the stuff that we're talking about, make it a little less scary. And it's just humbling to when I'm in front of a Paul Lynn or any other guy that knows what he's doing. You know, I'm tuned in like I'm 6 years old and it's kindergarten and it's story time and the teacher's there. Like,
right.
A lot of us amateurs that are there in the moment and appreciate it are like that. I just don't know if you ever hear that from an amateur before. I just want to let you know.
There are a lot of grateful people, and
good.
Derek's team is getting huge. So when I go to practice, if I've missed it for 2 months, there's like 20 new faces.
That's awesome.
And I feel them looking at me like I'm I'm like, hey, how you doing? Like, then I'll get on with them and show them something, and it's like, if we could just be like that. Nah, I get it. Some guys don't want to be bothered.
I know.
Fine. Yeah. It's like you don't have to coach these people. Just be cordial, inviting, because they're building it. You were new once, right?
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's dope. I asked you before we got on here, you know, throughout the week we were texting about some big matches and some rivalries to kind of get a feel for who your ladder was. And you talked about Corey Miller, UAL 2014. You lost to him, but you avenged that. You got that.
Ooh, that was yesterday in 2014. So 7 years ago. 7 years ago yesterday.
This is nuts.
In Chicago. Oh, that wasn't Chicago. We flew into Chicago and drove to like Hammond, Indiana.
Number 5. And this. Did you avenge that loss?
I have beaten Corey twice since then, but he's beaten me, I don't know how many times over the years. He beat me in my second tournament ever. He was an amateur too back then, if that tells you anything. So, yeah, Corey's my buddy. We've battled several times. Yeah, UAL, he owned me 6 rounds or whatever it was.
Is that vendetta shit, the vendetta style? What is that?
The super match style, the UAL. Oh, it was an
Have you
amazing.
heard of this new thing, vendetta style? Have you heard of it?
I've heard of the European vendettas that they used to have. Like Travis would go over there.
Yeah, what does that
and, like,
mean?
see-
What does that
It was
even
like
mean?
it was like a name for their.
For their death match?
Yeah, there's so many different names, but
I
yeah.
watched your Jeff Hale match in Wall 404, and it was a battle. It was a 3-2, wasn't it? You were up 2-0 and he came back.
Oh. After that first match, I was completely gassed.
That's what I want to get at.
Man,
Now
yeah.
let's talk about gassed in a super match or gassed in a tournament.
Mhm.
How do you fucking get through it? I mean, I know you just got to get up there and do it, but like, I imagine you probably got to take your mind to somewhere you didn't think you'd have to take it, right?
What's
I
crazy-
don't know.
Yeah, with Jeff's one of the best super match pullers of all time at any weight.
Yeah.
And we're friends. Going into this match, we hadn't pulled in 6 years. And I just remember from 6 years before that, he just completely slammed me in a hook. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to hit faster than him sideways. I'm bigger. I felt like I was strong enough to go sideways through him. But I should have went back more. Then I
Yeah.
probably would have had more luck with that first hit. So when he stopped me a couple inches from the pad, I was in the worst position to try to get leverage. Because normally, if someone stops me, I can come up and tricep them down because I've got a lot of power there. But there's a very small window. And I wasn't in that window. So I was just trying to. So by the end of that match, I couldn't close my hand. I managed to get a quick tricep press on him. I was up 2-0. Nothing left in the tank. And he was fresh as day,
Well, what is that? What's going through your mind in that moment? Like in that,
How-
are you like, I'm screwed or what?
a little bit. Because
Yeah.
I had nothing and I knew he was fine. And I'm like, this is a dangerous position to be with Jeff Hale. Because now
No.
his game. Yeah. So I knew I blew it after that first match. And
Yeah.
he won that rightfully. So I love the guy. Love him.
I love his energy. He's full of energy, man. I love it. I love those kind of guys, man.
Yeah. He puts on the show, man. He could sell it. Love him or hate him.
He's a showman for sure.
Good
He's a
dude.
big bastard too. For being, how tall is he? He looks like he's pretty short.
He's not as short as people think, but
I'm probably shorter.
he wears size small shirts, real tight. But he's a big.
Yeah.
He's like all upper body.
Oh, he's
Big
jacked,
dude.
jacked,
But
for
he's
sure.
a smaller frame guy. So when I'm standing next to him, I'm going to look bigger. But dude, the guy's just got.
Yeah, there's times you see guys that come into your class and they look 20 pounds heavier, but it's just.
That's usually me. I'm usually the big guy or the
Oh,
tall.
yeah?
Until you have to pull
Oh, I get it.
Tom Holland, who's 6'3", 6'4". It's really weird that when I'm not the tallest in the class.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
Okay.
Yeah. Martini glass body, no legs.
I feel that, man.
Yeah.
Did you get to avenge that with Jeff Hale yet, or you still have yet to face him?
No, I always tell Neil I want to pull him again, and I'll just completely go differently than what I did last time. And
So he's on the radar, is what we're saying. He's on the radar.
he'll always be on the radar because he won that match. So absolutely. I haven't pulled Corey in a few years. I got luck. I managed to get those 2 wins on him. So I've beaten him the last time we pulled. But I know he's wanting to pull again. We were at the same event a couple months ago, but he pulled a different weight class because I was heavier.
Yeah.
But he's always dangerous. I mean, Corey Miller is one of the best ever to do it in lightweights. So that'll be fun.
There's so many studs. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a revolving door. You really got to stay on top of your shit because it's like there's always someone ready to knock you down.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I love about this sport. It keeps you in check. Like, let's say you're going to be up against somebody in a month or two or whatever. That guy is actually your friend, even if you don't like him, because he's keeping you in line while you're prepping for him. It's like a gift you get without him even knowing he's giving it to you.
Like the best thing ever, right? It's your best supporter, even though it could be your enemy. Like
Yeah.
remember we were talking about earlier, like Angry Bird?
Yeah.
Dude, he loves me. Adam loves me. Angry Bird hates me because when he puts on the Angry Bird persona, he wants to murder everybody.
I've seen it.
That helped me stay polished all last year. I drew a picture of the Angry Bird on my white wall in my gym, and it was up there for like 9 months because we kept getting the match
Yeah.
pushed back. finally I had to, erase it. And I was so ready, and I'm sure he was too, for like a year. We were just training for each other.
That's another match that's got to go down whenever the
Has to.
shit ends.
Yeah, hopefully they get that going again. But
now, it was really nice to see after watching your interviews, and I watched your Alan Fisher, the Wall 504. You were really dominant in that match, but I thought it was especially cool because you faced him in your first tournament, right? So after all that, and you come around, you're on the big screen, you got him right on the table, and it's like, I'm different now. And then the way that turned out, I imagine when you won that, was that like an exhale of like a step? Did you think about that first tournament at all when you beat him there?
Oh,
Did you think about that?
Yeah, he it's kind of,
because he gets nuts like, I'm like, holy shit, you better win, this crazy bastard. The way he's getting,
gotta let him do his thing, right? You just
yeah, boy, he's nuts.
Like, him and Jeff are like the most intense.
Yeah, Jeff's intense,
but for different reasons,
No, I know what you're saying. I know what it is.
Alan's like, and you could feel him because when Jeff gets to the table, he's not shaking.
Yeah.
He's very calm, poised, but he's got that fire. Whereas Alan's like,
I know.
He's got that. Okay. If you're not on, he'll slam you quick. So, but I had a game plan and it worked.
You probably expected all that shenanigans beforehand.
Right? Yeah, he wasn't. I mean,
I it a million times
for 15 years. Like I knew what he was going to do.
Right.
So once a few years back, I decided to become a better, smarter arm wrestler. And if I know, all right, well, let me get him in the strap. Let me take away his hand, attack his wrist a little bit. Even if I have to go sideways, if he takes my hand, I know I'm stronger than him. I'll be fine. That was my mindset. I didn't expect it to go as planned as well because 2 months before that, he got into a hook war with Jeff Hale at Nationals.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was in a heavier weight class. Actually 2 heavier weight classes at Nationals, but I'm watching it like, I gotta have super match this guy. And he's in there deep with Jeff.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything just went perfect for me that day. And it was a breath of fresh air. It's like,
whew. Yeah. Well, I felt that watching. I'm like, okay, I've seen it here. And I thought that was cool. I was wondering if you were thinking the same thing.
Oh yeah. Big time. Cool.
Yeah. There's a guy near Vazgen. Sogahoyan. I don't know his name, but he beat you for mad years, 12 years straight.
Yeah. Vazgen came from Armenia. Vazgen. Yeah. Vazgen. 2006, I think, was his first time coming to the States, and he was destroying everybody at 154. He brought that European style here. Deep hook, explosive. I think he was the 132-pound world champion for like 4 years. Then went up to 143s. And he's getting older now, so he probably sits heavier. But yeah, he lives an hour away from me. So every tournament, it was me and him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can honestly tell you he's probably beaten me 35 to 40 times in like 15 years.
What's that do to your mentals about this guy? Not that you don't like him I know you're whatever, but but when you're getting your ass taken, because there's a couple of guys who beat me consistently, and sometimes it bothers me, sometimes it don't. Does that just drive you harder and harder every time he beats you? Or do you ever like, motherfucker, I can't stand this shit?
Well, after a while, it becomes a joke. You're just like, all right, well, then you think, okay, this guy's just on that level. And then something clicks. Like I spent the longest time trying to go around his hand. And my top roll isn't what it used to be. And then I heard from people, you got to go through him. But so I adopted this style, which is kind of like a low-handed top roll, high hook, which I can use my bicep without going too deep with these guys because my wrist isn't. So anyways, long story short, I was able to go through him we pulled 2 weight classes together, and I beat him 3 times that day. And it was the first time I've ever went through him because the guy's just so powerful inside. He likes to go.
Right.
So finally when I figured, let's just go at him instead of trying to go around him, I managed to have better success there. So, and that, like, same thing with Corey Miller, Alan Fisher, Vazgen. Took me 12, 13 years to beat these guys when they were kicking my ass before. So
Yeah.
weird how that works.
I imagine as you chalk off each one of these big losses and you avenge them, I'm just imagining the sigh of relief, the hard work being worth it. I can just kind of sense what that was like.
Mhm.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah. And you know what? If you beat somebody that's beaten you forever,
Yeah.
and if you never beat them again, at least you
Oh
can
my
say you've beaten them.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to say, at least I could say I pulled this person in my career. But
Right.
it's a lot better to say, yeah, I've had a win on him.
Yeah. No doubt.
Right. So
Luke Kent, how many times have you faced him?
oh man, Luke Kent and I've known him longer than anybody in the sport, but we didn't get to pull each other for several years. In our first time arm wrestling, I was really nervous because I know who he was and I got to watch him through his career. And he was just taking second place at nationals for so many years and he was frustrated. And then finally it clicked for him and he catapulted to, the star that he is today. So I had a lot of respect for him watching him. So I was nervous to pull him and I managed to beat him 2 out of 3 times that day. Haven't beaten him since. He's flash pinned me ever since then.
Him and that Ethan Frisch, they're fast.
I'd love to pull Ethan again.
He's just so fast. I go, where does that kind of speed come from?
Years of training, just fast. Yeah, both beasts in different directions. Yeah.
Tom Holland. I've seen him on TV a couple of times. He's pretty decent.
He's really
radars.
Yeah, and he very unassuming, very very explosive, and very awkward.
Yeah, he's an awkward.
And you're not used to guys that tall hooking if you're my height. So
what's it like pulling the tall guys? I've been around with the tall guys. It feels like their fingers are snakes and they wrap around you and you can't do nothing about it. What do you do? What does Jamie Sheldon do in that predicaments?
Well, the only time I pulled him was with WAL. And I mean, his hand isn't like a Cobra or a Fisher. It's just, he's got that long arm and he's got a ton of rotation and explosiveness. So when he hits you, I felt, because I was coming back after I stopped his initial hit and I was getting more drag, but he can keep going forward with that long arm and he was right in his position. He just rotated through me. Really weird feeling.
I bet.
So I didn't have enough time to adjust to that or try to learn from it. It's just like, okay, I need to go rethink this guy for if we have to, ever pull again. But it was just, we only had 2 matches and he blew through me. Very good arm wrestler. Very underrated.
I see him. I don't hear him talked about enough.
Yeah, you're going to hear more about him. Like, he's done amazing things in Europe, and he'll be back to do some more damage in WAO.
So we got Tom Holland.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Jeff Hale. Speaking of overseas, have you ever pulled overseas?
Not yet.
I was going to say it's probably an experience in itself. Just going to wherever the hell it is you got to go. Like Slotty or something.
In my career, I've never justified spending money to go to Worlds. It was always in the back of my mind just for the experience. And I probably should have when I was younger and I didn't have responsibility, but I missed that window. So maybe I'll go as a Masters.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
2 more names I want to bring up.
Cobra
Rhodes. Have you ever pulled Cobra?
Once.
How'd that go?
He took me to school.
He is he's the single person in this sport that I need to get on a one-on-one just because of his philosophy. I don't know if you can gather from our conversation thus far, but I feel like me and him would make for a really deep conversation somewhere down the road. I have a lot of admiration and respect for him. I tried to give him the dap on the Arm TV about Game of Arms, and he said, fuck Game of Arms, because I don't know what that is. We'll find out someday. I talked to Gary Roberts, and he said something like Game of Arms was like that hot girlfriend that you had, and she just got taken away from you. So there's a sour taste in some people's mouth about it. Not so much that anything happened with the show, but that made sense to me. But I just remember seeing Cobra out in wherever he was, at Lake or whatever, before one of them matches. just kind of getting everything. I don't know what he was doing, but I just felt it. And the little innuendos and the things that he says that people don't catch, I catch them all. He's like the Zen person of the sport. And
He's so
someday, go ahead.
Yeah, everything gravitates to him, and he's involved in everything. I'll tell you that. Like, he's been around a long time.
I feel it.
He knows everybody, and he's still involved in everything. In some, like, I'll chat with him like every 6 months,
Yeah.
and he'll call me and update me, or we'll chit chat, nothing but love there.
Yeah.
Lots. He's very, very deep.
Yeah, boy.
Very
right up
deep.
my alley, my friends.
Yeah. Oh man, when we arm wrestled at WAL, he was
You ever
so.
have any deep talks with him in the one-on-one somewheres?
What's that?
You ever have like a nice one-on-one with him about
I
life?
haven't had enough time alone with him, man. I mean, it was just in passing or at events. Like, we never had a chance to actually hang out. So
That would be dope.
we've had some relatively long conversations on the phone. Like, he helped me prep for Alan because he's known Alan for 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude to talk to. And
He's entertaining too, man. I bet he's got a lot of stories.
yeah, it's like Travis. He's probably got 10 times as many stories as Travis. You know, he'll tell you.
All right, the last name I want to bring up.
I think I know who you're going to say.
I think you are. Why don't you say it for me?
Well, it's one of two guys, and both have beat me. So
This guy holds a hammer.
They
Sam
both
Harris.
do. Sam Harris. Okay.
Because that's the end game for you, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I watched Sam come up.
Tell me about Sam a little bit.
I wouldn't call this meeting Sam, but I think my first interaction with him was on the table at the Arnold Classic, and we were both 154 pounds. I remember we got in the strap, and I knew who he was because I knew he was making waves on the East Coast, and we knew he'd be good one day, right? Took my hand, I tricepped him and pinned him, but it was like a minute-long match.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, this kid's good. So flash forward several years, there's a UAL tournament that he wins, and there was like 30 guys in our class. Like, I literally flash pinned Ethan. They called a slip, and we got into a battle, a minute-long match. Ethan won. I think I took 16th that day at 100 pounds. Vazgen and Sam are in the final. Sam had never beat Vazgen before, beat him twice. So Sam was now the king coming up, right? One of the biggest tournaments ever. And then ever since then, it's just been green light for Sam. So they set up a super match for me and Sam with the UAL. Sam blew through me like 5 rounds, I think. I had a minor tendon issue in the match. He was just way too good. Now that we're both heavier, I'd like to pull him again just to kind of feel what everybody's been talking about, because I haven't gripped up with him in like 5 years.
Yeah.
And he's rightfully been the champ.
Yeah.
Good for him, you know? And he's a really, really, really good, humble dude.
I could tell. I know a lot about people from their facial expressions, and you can just tell he's all good vibes, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
Loves what he does, and he's good at it. But yeah, he's the guy that has to go down because he's got the top spot.
Yeah.
So screw the guy.
I didn't know the other guy, but you tell me who you thought the other guy was going to be.
Well, I thought you were going to talk about the other dude that spanked me, Tony Katowski, right? The Iron Man.
The Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't have that one written down, but speak on the Iron Mans.
Yeah, I'll like to pull Tony
down the roads.
Yeah, he just I had nothing for him. Weird. He's a weird feeling, but maybe one day. Yeah.
You have a Darth Vader side, do you? I've seen that in one of your interviews. You seem pretty chill on your matches. What does it take to bring Darth Vader out?
Well, you know, they usually say that like the nice guy is probably the most dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. The loudmouth guys, they're barks, no bites. The guy like you, Jason Merlo, the guys who don't say much, but when the ready go happens, they're stone cold killers without all this. To me, they're the scariest guys of all. Because you can't tell what's going on in their head.
I don't
if the guy's telling you everything,
Oh yeah, that kind of
it's
stuff.
one
Yeah, I don't bring that to the table. Like
yeah,
I'll be intense, but in my own way. But I don't ever build that.
it could just be a change of the look in the eye.
Yeah, but I have a very short fuse, and my wife's seen it, and there's been times where it's bad news. Put it that way for people if they get on my bad side, and I hopefully nobody ever sees it.
It's called the shadow. Everybody has a shadow.
Mm-hmm.
You got to feed the shadow, but not let it engulf you. It's almost like you got to give it a little nugget every once in a while to keep you from making you a prick. There's a guy named, I think his name's Jordan Peterson. You ever hear Jordan Peterson?
Yeah.
Talks
He's
about
always on Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah, he talks about the shadow. If you can embrace the shadow without letting it take over, you're twice as dangerous than a guy who's always violent or never violent. When you can merge the two and still be a nice guy, you're dangerous. Pretty much.
That's perfect. I mean, yeah.
All right, listen up. We're coming down here, coming towards the end of this thing.
Yeah, it's been fun so far, man.
Hell yeah, I've been having a blast. A couple little more bullshit questions at the end of the night. You have a lot of experience in the gym, training people, working out yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any funny gym stories of people doing ridiculous shit? Because I have one, but I wanted to see if you had one first.
Let me think here. I've
Maybe
seen some. Well, you know how you see those gym fail videos? I think
that's what I'm getting at, bro. We're on the warm down. We're on the warm down here, bud.
Yeah, we've seen. I haven't seen anything that crazy. Maybe I think a lot of that stuff is fake and people are just doing it for show. But like I've never seen somebody flying from the cable machine. I've seen. You know what I have seen? I'm gonna tell you this because this stands out in my brain because we had to tell the guy. Well, when I was in management, you have to go talk to people that aren't. Anyway, dress code. So there was a dude wearing silver chrome. We called him. It looked chrome, like chrome panties,
like
ass cheeks hanging out. He was running full speed on the treadmill,
like Borat.
Yeah, but the guy was ripped. Like you just think,
God, that's so strange.
Maybe it was part of his whatever. But people were complaining, so we had to go have a talk with him. Like, look, you can't have your ass hanging out. And it was an awkward conversation to have with the guy because I would never have that conversation with a female. We'd find one of the females to go talk to her, right? You just don't want to do it. But since I'm the guy, the manager, I had to talk to the guy. Look, people are complaining. Your ass cheeks are hanging out of your chrome chonies. Like, congratulations on having a nice physique, but dude, come on. And he was running full speed. Like the dude was like for minutes. Like,
that's fucking.
Like, where do you get this energy from? Those super chonies.
There must have been a camera on record somewhere.
Yeah. You know, and you spend 10 years in the gym, you see some stuff but nothing like that. It was just, where do you buy those? Like, why would you? I don't know.
I remember when I first moved to Philly and I was at a Planet Fitness and I'm in the gym and this guy's standing up and he's bending down. He's standing up. He's bending down. His hands are in his mouth. And I go, he's probably stretching. I look and I see all these white things on the ground. And I go, what's he doing? Standing up, like stretching, he's taking his teeth out of his mouth one at a time and putting them on the floor. And then he would go and pick each one of those teeth up and put them back in his mouth. And that was like the way he counted his reps was his teeth on the ground. It was fucking crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, man. You could tell he just got out.
Damn.
I just thought that was strange. Another story is you ever see people at the gym hog up the 45 plates?
Mm-hmm.
They're the special kind. Well, I had a guy, I seen a guy. He had the toe shoes. You know what the toe shoes are? The shoes that look like your feet.
They look like your feet, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this guy I have nicknames for everybody. Call him Tommy Toe Shoes. The Tommy Toe Shoes was a guy about my size. And grunting and gritting and grinding all the time. Just want everybody to know, look at me.
Mm-hmm.
So I see him start putting all of these 45-pound plates on the leg press.
Of course.
You ever see someone who puts all the 45s on the leg press and they think they can squat 1,000 pounds, but they can't? They can just do the leg press.
And they don't go all the way down. Yeah, a little.
You just finished the story for me.
Sorry.
Yeah, because what he did was he put all them on there and he's hunting and grunting. And I'm excited now because now I got the record on and I go, you better show out, man. I got people watching.
Yeah.
And I swear all he did was, and I was just like, you jerk off. He built all that up for nothing. I just was wondering if you had any kind of goofy.
Oh, yeah. It probably took him 10 minutes to get all those plates on there and other people needed them. Yeah. Yeah, we get a lot of people like that at the gyms. I remember there were guys that would slam or drop the 120s at 24-hour fitness.
Oh, yeah. Dong, dong. Or they would have 35s and they would drop them like they were 150.
Right. And they were the rubber ends. So those are like $600 a piece. And I remember my buddy that I used to work with, he would go take them. Like if you drop the weights, he would walk into the gym, take them from you and go hide them up and lock them up. Nice. Because they're $600 a piece and the gyms weren't spending the money. Yeah. So it's like putting people on timeout. It's like, all right, we're going to take your weights from you. It's like taking your phone from your daughter or something, right? And it was just funny to watch him do that. He would just walk right up to the big dude, take the weight, look at him. Wish I had my phone. I could have.
I know, dude. I was on the wall site and they have rankings for you guys. Not rankings as far as where you're at in your class, but they have like almost like Madden ratings for your power, your technical skills and whatnot. Do you know this?
I've seen it.
I mean, I have your numbers here, but I just was wondering, like, do you know how they come up with that shit?
No idea. It's like you
automatically had your numbers. I was going to read them to you. And I'm like, how the hell do they figure this shit out?
And they're weird, right? Like some of them, I mean, I get it. They're probably trying to sell a dynamic for later on down the road, but it's like, Devin would probably have like a 10 on technical, whereas Jerry would have like a 10 on power, or Todd Zilla would have a 10 on power.
Right. Might just be a visual for people to see.
Yeah.
As far as like your strengths and weaknesses per se.
Right. I mean, is it accurate? Who knows?
It was kind of a light question. Just wondering if you knew if there was any rhyme or reason to it, but I think we figured it out together.
Yeah. It's probably cool for TV purposes. So the commentators can talk how you match up on paper. Yeah. Right. I've seen them though. Yeah.
All right. If arm wrestling, the raw DNA of arm wrestling itself was a person, a man and a woman, two different people, because I'm going to see if you can describe both. If arm wrestling itself was a man and a woman, could you tell me what the characteristics of those two people would be like? I'm talking the raw DNA of this thing. It's tough. I don't know. You might not be able to. What kind of person would it be?
You know what the person would look like? Once you get past the physical aspect of it, it's so mental. Like you have to be a smart person to arm wrestle. I like to call it a game of chess at high speed.
Yeah.
Right. With strength. So he'd probably look like a typical nerd, somebody who's studied. Right. Because if you studied it and you can apply it, it'll take you far. And I'm probably going to offend some women. You know how women never let things go?
Yeah.
You have to be able to remember all of it, right?
Oh, yeah. Trust me.
And not let it go. That way, it's a constant reminder. So it's going to be like, I don't know if I could put those two together. They'd be an interesting married couple, right?
I make the case for, I would love to see, because there's probably a few power couples in the sport, husband, wife, who are badass pullers. I'd love to see who's the baddest couple of them all somehow. I don't know how or where, but that would be cool.
That's an interesting reality show idea.
In a perfect world, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, both the husband and the wife have to be arm wrestlers?
Yeah, the husband would arm wrestle the husband. The wife would arm wrestle the other wife. Somehow you would try to score. and find out who's the power couple of arm wrestling. I think that would be cool to see.
Pretty awesome.
Now, there's
Oh.
probably wouldn't be that many, maybe 4 or 5. There's probably 4 or 5. I don't know. But I think that would be cool.
Devin and Jody versus Michael and Rebecca.
Yeah, that'd
Right.
be cool.
It's kind of like
you're not going to have a mixed gender thing. It would be wife, husband. And if there was a tiebreaker, there'd be some kind of cool way to figure out how to, whether you flip a coin or spin the wheel, the price is right, whatever the fuck. It'd be.
Hey, that would be interesting, man, because you can get Tom Nelson and his wife, because she's Polish champion.
Because one thing I noticed,
Mike Soleris' wife has been around the sport so much, she could probably do some damage. I mean, I've never seen her arm wrestle. I don't think she had.
Dope. Somebody's
got to know, right?
Yeah.
I'd pay to see that TV show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of TV shows, I mean, I have so many ideas as far as how to grow this sport. From, you could do a bachelor or bachelorette. You could do a bachelorette with a hot but badass arm wrestler female, and the guy's got to charm her, but she's a killer. So it'd be an interesting dynamic to see how that would work.
My wife would watch it. She watches The Bachelor and Bachelorette already. Yeah.
There's so many things, but that's down the road. That's the next episode. One thing I learned about this thing is you got to leave them wanting something for laters.
Hey, equals and cash grabs, brother.
Yeah. Jamie Sheldon's biopic. What's the title of this movie? I think it would probably be The Natural. Something in regards to The Natural, but you'll have to tell me the storyline and who plays you in the movie.
I wouldn't know what a title would be because I'm the worst at that. Hence my name of my company, Wow.
Who would play you in the movie?
Will Smith.
That's not bad.
Why not, right?
No, it makes sense.
Think who would be a great representation?
Who would be your nemesis? There's got to be a grand match at the end. It would have to be Sam, wouldn't it? It would have to be.
You know what? It's like I really want to pull Sam, but he's like, it's like further down the road. I mean,
an end-game thing. That's part 3 of the movie, not part 1.
Right. And if he didn't have the hammer, it wouldn't be him. It'd be somebody else, right? So yeah, who would be the guy that in your whole arm wrestling career, whether it was a win or a loss, who would be the guy that would have to be on the other end of this movie? Just as a joke, Sam in Rocky, Sam would be like the Clubber Lang that beat me.
Yeah.
But I'm not worried about beating him yet. I want to go beat the Russian, right? Yeah. I want to go beat Ivan Drago. So just because I'm a geek with Star Wars, I think the Jedi is.
Yes. That's what I wanted you to say.
Okay. It was here. I didn't know if I should take it there.
Yes. That was what I wanted.
Jedi. We can sell it. I don't care if he kicks my ass. It's a sell.
It's a trilogy anyway. It doesn't matter if you lose the first one.
Beautiful. It does itself, right?
What would you want your audience to take away from this movie, your biopic?
I would like them, if it's, let's say it's like a theater type, I want people to walk out of there saying,
talking life lesson here,
that they want to go make an impact. Right? Back to that word again.
I love it. This word's been popping in and out of this whole conversation. Impact.
I'm telling you, leave your mark somehow.
Yes.
Whether it's literally with this logo or a series of logos, but make your mark somehow. Don't just be average.
Right.
Don't be the I woulda, coulda, shoulda. I posted that today. You know what I mean?
You don't want to have any regrets.
Yeah, do something. No regrets. Be you.
Have you ever heard this comment? Attention is the most valued commodity in business.
Who said that?
Ryan Bowen. I just read it. He's thinking about doing an online thing about building your brand. And when I don't know, but when he said that.
Yeah, he did. I remember seeing him post that. Yeah. And he took something from nothing and made it something. And everybody doubted him too.
Yes.
I didn't. I saw what he was doing and I watched from afar out of respect. And yeah, good for him, man.
Yeah, I admire guys that are just willing to go after it. Will Smith said, "You surround yourself with successful people, and good things can happen. You are the company you keep." Yeah, it's no news
Oh, yeah.
story. That's why I love talking to you guys on here, because I get inspired each conversation.
Me too.
Like-minded individuals, like Paul Lynn says, we find each other, and we all get something out of it. This is my last question. My last question for you, Jamie Sheldon. Thank you for this epic conversation. When it's all said and done, and you're done with this sport, what do you want the arm wrestling world to remember about Jamie Sheldon?
That fit.
That fit. Yes. 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 I love it.
Let's be real. I'm never gonna be the best, and I
You're
don't
looking big picture. Neither am I, dude.
I love the sport. I love coming in here and pulling. I love seeing my buddies. I love the interactions, and then I go home. Like, it doesn't mean as much to me to be number one like it does for Michael Todd. Like, Michael Todd deserves to be known as number one, at least for a fucking split second. The guy's earned it, right? So get that damn match with him and Levin. If I was a rich guy,
yeah,
I would pay for that match to happen. Just so he could go to bed at night knowing one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
So when I leave the sport, ranked number 55 or whatever the hell I'm going to be, just, remember what we did for the sport, because this is going to do crazy things.
That logo behind you is going to do more for this sport than those two arms of yours.
Thank you.
The fact that you're taking those two lightsabers, and you're going to run with it, that's exactly what I'm doing with my mouth for now. But I can't wait to jump on this train, man. I love what you're doing. That fit, man.
You know what,
perfect answer. Perfect answer.
You know, I had this conversation with my wife. We were at the store. I was at the store one day, and I was buying beer or something, and it was weird. I saw the Modelo box, right? And I was like, when the hell was this created? And I think it was like 1922 or something like that, when Modelo.
Oh, the beers, the brews.
Yeah, the beer. Yeah. So it started making me think. It's like the guys who created these beers aren't around anymore.
Yeah.
They never got to see where it is now. So my goal at this point, or at some point, this is bigger than I've ever dreamed of.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's great.
You left your mark.
Yep.
Impact.
That lives forever.
Yeah.
It's a legacy.
Steve Jobs is gone.
But I'm fucking up. Look at it. I'm on an Apple computer right now, brother.
I'm on my wife's Apple. She's got Apple. I'm Samsung guy. Yeah. Yeah. Nat Fit needs to be
everywhere,
somewhere in the history books.
I love it.
With my stupid picture somewhere in a big building.
With that shirt, bro. With that shirt, bro.
This shirt, yeah.
Well, Jamie, it's been a pleasure, an honor, and I've had a lot of fun tonight, man. I hope you did too.
Oh man, we've talked for 3 hours. It's like I'm talking to family, like literally.
Do you see why? Now, do you get
Absolutely.
it?
Yeah.
I get you too, man. I can't wait to. I feel like we've known each other for a while now. As far as before we got on this thing, I mean, that's been my goal. Well, by the time that we're done, we're family, and I think that we are, man. Yeah. I really am a big fan of you as a puller, but even bigger fan of you as a father, a husband, and an entrepreneur. And now you're stuck with me because I'm picking your brain for the rest of your life.
Any other way, and I'm glad I got to actually talk to you. Like
yes.
A lot of these.
Well, on ARM TV, there's just too much noise, and I'm trying to be respectful to Gary, and so I only get my little tidbits. But I got you one-on-one. Now we're eye to eye. I think, you know what I mean.
I'm glad we did this because now I know you.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get better, man.
Yep. Well, you have a good night, man. I've had a lot of fun. After this, going forward, I want to talk about the business and other things.
Yeah. Get some sleep, man. And
yeah,
we'll definitely chat whenever you're ready.
All right, man. God love you, man. Have a good night, you and your family. Tell your wife I said hi, and I'll be seeing you around. All right.
Well, she had to come out and tell me that she likes you, so it's
that meant a lot to me, bro.
You wouldn't do that if she didn't.
She's third party. She can feel out a snake when she sees one, but she
Sure,
said that's a good dude. I like that. I appreciate it.
Love it.
All right. Good night, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.